Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's Heroes Heart TFT Fight Night, or actually Giant Slayer TV. Already messing it up right off the bat because it's Giant Slayer now.
Ruined.
I'm just so used to saying that line, but no, it's Giant Slayer TV now. Moving on to that brand, and Cass will be talking a bit more about that later. But I'm excited to be back casting some really, really good TFT action tonight. We got a lot of good players in here, but alongside me casting, we have Casanova. How you doing tonight, bud?
You know, I've been better. Been a bit sick, right? But it's all okay. It's all okay because right now, to ring in the new year, 2020, baby, we starting it off with the final fight night for this set, for this kind of series that we've been doing. And we have one of the most stacked lobbies we have ever had on Fight Night bringing to you today. We have two defending champions, even though on the screen it only shows one of them. We've got Faye and Rayditz. Rayditz being the only person to ever cash in a bounty. Therefore, he has not been dethroned. He dethroned himself for a little bit of a break, but he's back. And now we got Faye versus Ray. And the supporting cast is a bunch of powerhouses coming to take the crown for themselves. We got Aries TFT, Sphinx, LudenKuma, ScottTheTeemo, H2, and Doublezzzz. And this is going to be a bit of a banger.
Hell yeah, it is. We got a lot of lobby too in there. Discord, a bunch of high-ranking and challenger players. Feels good, man. Yeah, this is just super, super dope lobby tonight. And of course, to anyone watching, you can support all of these players with bits. All of the bits and I believe tips or donations as well go to the top 4 finishers, 60% of that, and then 20% goes to the bounty, and 20% also goes to the cast and the crew, all helping out here tonight. So really cheer for what player you want to see win, who you want to see to take the crown, whether it be Faye or Rayditz, claiming it again, or one of these newer but really, really skilled players.
Absolutely. And make sure, if you have not already, to check out the new socials with this dope rebrand, GiantSlayerTV. Find us on Twitter and Twitch there for potentially some future TFT content, any kind of updates, that kind of stuff. A lot of amazing YouTube videos where you can learn how to play like all of these competitors that we have here today.
Yeah, and also, Little Legends game night, I think, is starting tomorrow as well. But I believe we are hopping into game number 1 right now as we see the competition get underway. And is there anyone that you're hoping for to pull out some victories?
Well, Rayditz has come back for his crown, and Faye is someone who has won many a fight night. So yeah. I'm excited to see if he can take it back from her, because she's not one to give it up easily.
I think it's like 4 or 5 victories from Faye already. I've lost count, honestly, so far. It's been so many, proving herself to be a very, very dominant player, of course, as we load into the first carousel. See a lot of players going for this rod, as people do. But Faye going for the vest there, not wanting to contest all those players. Doublezzzz manages to grab that.
Yeah, it does end up picking that up. We're going to see where we can go to first. It's going to be an Infernal map.
Yep. That it is. Inferno Hex, a unit standing in it will get 30% increased attack speed. And of course, the Inferno Hex does take up an item slot, so got to use that effectively. I don't think in this meta that the hex of the map really changes what comps you go for that much. On Inferno map, maybe you can more easily go 3 Inferno for your mid game, because Kiana is an Inferno unit on this map. And it's also pretty good for the blender composition with the Blade Master Assassins, before you get your second Infinity Edge for Nocturne, when you just have the Blade Master Spatula and 1 Infinity Edge. Having them on that hex will prove to be very, very dominant.
Yeah, I would say more so maybe in this current meta, it just affects the speed at which you can accomplish some comps, seeing as how Kiana is such a powerful unit in general. and being able to change her nature, being either Inferno or Ocean or any of the others on each of the maps, being able to kind of change the timings that you can get to certain synergies is more of the difference than you would see previously, with maybe the buff being something that changed what comps you would go.
Yeah, definitely. So, Kiana, I would say just 3 very impactful synergies. Cloud, not so much, a little bit though, but definitely the Inferno, Ocean, and the Mountain being very, very good synergies for her. Let me see, H2 picking up some gold. Already at 16 gold on round 1-4. Already making extra econ here. That's going to be really, really appealing for H2. Generally in this meta, a lot of players will try to make as much gold as possible early to be around the 50 gold mark around Krugs, if not earlier if possible. I mean, H2 had a really good gold start there, so definitely is possible. Let's check in with doubles here. Already has a pair of Threshes, and Threshes are wardens that are very, very desirable right now in this meta.
Yeah, Ocean Warden, so a lot of very powerful synergies there for Thresh. Definitely one of the units we'll be looking to see a lot of tonight. Wardens in general making a huge surge in the meta currently, so expect to see Wardens across the board a lot of the time in these matches.
Yeah, definitely. And Doubles already has 3 Wardens himself. Maybe he finds a lucky Nautilus. He has 3 cost units, so it's a little bit hard to find at level 4 and level 3, but hopefully in the future. Checking with Aries, a lot of gold and a lot of units on the bench, but only 2 items, so not really that bad. I mean, these are the makings of a Hush, which is very, very desired in a blender composition. So we'll probably see some players look to go that comp. It's very, very prevalent right now in the meta. It just depends on who's going to commit to it or not.
Yeah, right now we see a mirror match of Woodland Druids, though, which we do see a lot in the early game as it is quite powerful, but falls off quickly. Does help to get to those mid-game spikes where you can pick up your more refined full composition. It does look like the BF sword of... who was that? I didn't actually see. I think it was Sphinx. On LeBlanc, but yeah, it was able to help turn the tides of that battle on the mirror matchup. But we'll have to see how that continues. Both of those compositions tend to be a bit stronger early on, so both of these players may be able to stay rather healthy. That is a tier 2 Maokai being picked up as well there for Aries.
If that was a Maokai last round, maybe would have secured the victory, tier 2, but at least Aries has it now, and still a lot of units on the bench there. This potentially could be 20 gold, which I know a lot of players in this meta right now would definitely prefer to make that into 20 gold. Aries considering making that tier into a completed Hush, but not doing so. Probably would lose this fight regardless, having the electrics in. It's actually just 2 Orns and 2 Volibears in there, so just pull on the electric train. Can the Maokai die, actually? I mean, depends on the electric procs here. Ooh, the Volibear.
Yeah, eventually gonna take him down, get the reset, take one more chomp, and put a little bit of damage onto Aries, but Aries hasn't leveled up yet, and Sphinx has, so that's what one of the big differences there. Or sorry, Rayditz has. Rayditz is the turtle, Sphinx is a squirrel.
Wait, what?
A little bit of a difference there.
Small difference. You know, we learned about it all at marine biology school, but anyways.
I don't know which player Rayditz was scouting her, but that was a tier 2 Vigar, I think, at round 2-3. Someone had that, and I'm very, very curious who it was. Not something that we usually see. Yeah, H2 maybe rolled a Vigar last turn and 2 Vigars this turn. Has mages in as well. That Vigar is actually just going to slap everything if it gets the mage proc. I want to watch this.
Oh my god, wait.
2 Oceans as well, yeah.
He's got the attack speed buff of the Inferno rocking as well. Here it comes. Here's the first ulti coming out. It does double cast, takes out the entire board. All right, question mark ping coming down. The Vigar is going to pop off again once more. Primordial Burst, sending him to the Shadow Realm. Sphinx going to take a little bit of damage from that. Oh my god.
That is quite the thing to start the day off with here. Oh man, H2. I wonder if he'll try to commit any sort of items to Vigar or just for shadows in general. I mean, there is a tier Kindred right there, and that's a shadow, which is a really good unit as well. Definitely curious to see. H2. Oh, nope. Taken by doubles, unfortunately. What's H2 going to prioritize here?
I'm just excited for this game in general from H2. You don't start a game of TFT out with a tier 2 Vagar and it doesn't turn out interesting. Whether he wins or loses, his perspective is going to be a ride for us to witness. So I definitely want to keep our eyes on H2 in this match.
Yeah, at least for the early game especially. Interesting is the perfect word for that, because it could go real good, it could go real bad, but either way it's going to be entertaining. Oh man. How you see LudenKuma here with a lot of pairs in the bench there. 4 pairs. Is that a good hand in this game? I mean, we'll find out, I guess.
Yeah, poker hand only lets you use 2 of them, so we'll see how many he gets to use here for auto chess, though. It's a little bit different. He does have his Woodland Druid in, another one of those synergies that we did say we expect to see a lot in the early games, of course, as it is quite powerful. Trying to grab those early tier 2 units in the Woodland and Druid synergies. See how he does against Doublezzzz, who did just pick up that Kindred that is in. I think he is on 3 Inferno. Yes, the Varus, the Kindred, and the Diana. We'll see if it's enough to take down these Woodlands, these tier 2 units in the front line. Doesn't seem like it will be, and that Varus is going to fall. A little bit of damage onto Doublezzzz, and LudenKuma going to be happy with that, as he does sell away a couple of his pairs.
Yeah, LudenKuma was also on level 4 there, I believe, and Doublezzzz is on level 5. But even still, the power of the early game Druids really shows its strength there. As you said, Druids are going to be something that players will run in the early game because it preserves your HP and allows you to save up your gold and to scale into the mid game. Doublezzzz is sitting in 8th place right now, but he is going to have a much stronger mid-game power spike than some of these players, assuming he finds the tier 2 Kindred and maybe a couple more Shadows if he's looking to go that route.
Yeah, and right now we look at ScottTheTeemo. He's got a couple tier 2 units here with the Vladimir and the Warwick. Ends up getting Electric, Glacial, and Ocean synergies in before this round. On level 5 going into Aries. And he does look to be winning pretty handily at the start. This tier 2 Jax is going to give a little bit of trouble after the fact, but the Glacial Stun and the Transfusion from Vladimir is going to allow Scott to win that round pretty handily. Definitely looking like he has a fairly powerful comp for this early to mid game just to try and preserve health. Don't think it's the strongest in the game, but it's definitely one that's going to help him start to econ a bit.
Yeah, definitely. Just picking up relatively strong units, even if they don't have that many synergies. I mean, he managed to fit 3 synergies in there. The Warwick wasn't really doing that. Oh, I guess I had Glacial there, so it did have a purpose to the composition there. But Scott looking to sell that right now to try to make 30 gold. It's not a guarantee that gold will drop from the creep round, so players will oftentimes maybe switch out their comp a little bit to make it weaker, but still strong enough to beat the PvE rounds in order to gain more income. Has the sword and the belt on the bench here. Already has made a Morello, so probably wants a Shojin's. That's a very good item, especially for Kiana, and it does fit into Ocean Mage Warden if you're going that brand route. Or even Lux. I would say Shojin's is a very good Lux item as well.
Yeah, get a couple more of those final sparks out, pump out the damage. Definitely a good item. Pretty versatile in general, can fit on a good amount of units, at least enough that it can be worth building fairly early on sometimes. Does get the spawns of the Infernos right next to each other.
Yeah. Oh, Scott's look on Scott's face there. He's shaking his head. He's looking a little frustrated with that. Yeah, there was a lot of items, and they weren't really like that many items that he wanted to make right there. Like he could slam a Zephyr, I suppose, but generally bows really aren't that wanted in this meta outside of needing one of them for Blade Master Assassins. Like generally is a huge swap from earlier metas or even set 1 where bows were like you really needed / like wanted bows. If you didn't get them, you were pretty doomed, but it's kind of the opposite now here in set 2 right now.
Yeah,
this
now we get to watch the Vigar from H2. Here it goes. It didn't get any multicast, but doesn't really matter. The composition from H2 is very strong right now. Quite a few items that we did see him end up creating there. You got the locket, and he put it on the Vigar. How do you like the locket pickup here?
Yeah, I think locket is a very universal and versatile item. right now. I think a lot of people look to build it in the early game, both to preserve HP and because it just fits in whatever comp you go into later on, whether it be on a backliner for the ability power and extra little bit of defensive shields. Maybe it'll help versus these blender compositions, or putting it on your front line, like putting it on an Amumu or a Singed or something of the sorts. That's going to be towards your front line. It's just a super universal item, so players will indeed build that a lot.
It's all natural.
Yeah, and I did see, interestingly enough, the way these hexes were placed for the Inferno map is going to lend itself for backline units to easily make accessibility out of these squares. So we'll see if that plays into any strategies at all. But right now, it looks like H2 actually might lose a round here to LudenKuma.
Whoa.
And he does. Gonna go down. The Vigard not strong enough to carry right now. You know, we'll have to see if it can continue to scale a little bit. But
I was gonna say, it turns out your only carry in the early game is a Vigard 2. It might not work out. I mean, of course, it didn't there. It just comes down to RNG. I guess Nui targets and if he double casts. Very, very risky. For sure, there.
Rayditz able to find a Malphite, so he does have 3 Wardens on the board right now. Going to be looking for that 4th.
Could have 4, and he has a Nasus on the bench, but it values 3 Inferno over 4 Wardens, which is probably correct right now. But once he levels up, we'll have 4 Wardens in there, if he chooses to do so. Sells the Blender units, doesn't want those Nocturnes. Over the Sivir. Oh, he's already committed to making a rapid-fire cannon. So, I suppose that's why that decision was made there, and has already made Thieves' Gloves, so can't make Infinity Edges anymore. Or he is facing Aries here.
Yeah, the Hush was able to stop the Malphite ult for quite a long time, maybe able to save a little bit of HP for Aries, but overall still going to fall the Rayditz comp there. Lose a little bit of health. Rayditz with a very powerful composition, keeping himself very healthy on a 5-win streak already.
Yeah, definitely. We don't see many players win streaky right now. It's just Rayditz and Faye.
Yeah, the 2 defending champions on the win streaks right now. A spatula picked up by Doublezzzz. We'll see if that goes into a blender or if it's going to go into a fawn or something else later on. Did not see if Doublezzzz was on a trajectory to make a blender composition. But we'll have to check out.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, even with this stage 3 carousel, if you find a spatula, some players are willing to transition their composition if they have the items for it, and if no one else is really going for that composition. I did expect to see some blender players here tonight, but I haven't really caught whiff if players are going to do that. Makes an Inferno, actually, is maybe looking to go 6 Inferno. It looks like right now, yeah, Double is committing to 6 Infernos right now. That's not something that you see every day here, especially this early into the game, being level 7.
Yeah, it's a very, very early 6. But we do have one blender.
Spot a blender.
Sphinx. He's got it. Yeah, he's going to be the one pulling out that blender, starting out with the Woodland Druid, getting him through that early game and finding that spatula. I didn't see at which point he picked up the spatula, but he does have one, does have some good items onto this Nocturne, and he can start filling out this composition that we've seen be so dominant in the past. It did see some nerfs, however. Have you felt that that's really pulled it down from being kind of that top spot?
So surprisingly, no. Like literally, there's been nerfs. I think there was 4 separate nerfs in one patch. Nocturne got nerfed. Tier 3 scaling got nerfed, which hurts because you do eventually want to make your Nocturne and Sivir into Tier 3 as this main blender composition is Chase. I think Assassin buff got nerfed a little bit. Rek'Sai attack damage got nerfed, which isn't a huge deal, but just still, there's been so many nerfs of blenders, but it's still so strong. I know Riot Mort has made comments about needing to nerf it further, and it will be nerfed further in the future. So it just takes a lot to bring that comp down, and we'll see if Sphinx can indeed make it look as dominant as it has been in this meta so far.
Yeah, Sphinx is looking to be in a pretty good spot, not too incredibly low on HP. Does already have 2 of the 3 Nocturnes to get the tier 2. and has very solid items on the Nocturne already. Obviously, the Blade Master item, but also having an Infinity Edge and an additional BF Sword. So,
Yeah.
already looking pretty good for him.
Very, very close to perfect items. And, you know, it's interesting. Sphinx is third place right now. Generally, in this meta, Blender players will look to kind of like open fort early or just basically sell their entire board in favor of making money to be able to save up and roll down for those units later. But Sphinx found every single woodland tier 2 with LeBlanc, Ivern, and Maokai, so is preserving HP while also making money. Something that's probably gonna lead Sphinx into maybe even winning this game. I wouldn't be surprised if it's at least a top 2 placement, if not a victory for Sphinx here.
Would you call it now? Would you say Sphinx has this game? He's got it on lock.
At the very least, I'm gonna call a top 3 for Sphinx here.
Top 3 for Sphinx.
Yeah,
all right.
No one else
I'll take that.
contesting this composition, and once he finds just one more Nocturne, didn't unfortunately get a glove there, but even still, Deathblade with 2 BF swords on Nocturne is very good. I think someone did the math recently, and Deathblade starts outscaling a second Infinity Edge after 5 stacks of Deathblade, which, I mean, if you think about it, killing 5 things is the majority of the enemy's comp already, but it does, it is good versus, say, summoners, just getting to farm those summoners and farm stacks with it. Yeah, and that's pretty much the whole comp here. Sphinx replaces the Kiana, or the LeBlanc with the Kiana, makes the Deathblade, and yeah, I mean, there's no Sivir items yet, but even still, it's looking pretty good. Besides not finding that tier 2 Nocturne, that's a little unfortunate, but still has a bit of gold to keep rolling down with in the next turns.
Definitely looking good, and yeah, with TFT, sometimes it can be hard to call an absolute, but definitely a top 3 placement is looking really good for Sphinx now. Even as you said, with no one contesting this composition, almost perfect items on the Nocturne, and almost has the full composition ready to go. It's definitely looking very favored for Sphinx. We'll see if anyone else can have a composition that can beat the Blender, though.
Yeah, and Scott, on the other hand, not having a very good time here. Only has a tier 1 brand as the carry, and the rest of the units aren't really looking so good. He's rolling it down on level 7 to try to stabilize somehow here. Decides to sell the Kianas in favor of putting summoners in. I might even consider selling this brand to put those items on the Azir, because a brand 1 is going to be very brand 1, yeah, is going to not be as impactful usually as an Azir 2.
Yeah, we're going to have to see if he can land on that tier 2 brand very quickly. It might end up paying off, but for right now, still hemorrhaging a bit of HP. Gonna lose a little bit more there as he loses to Rayditz.
Yeah, Rayditz already level 8, actually. A very, very aggressive level 8 level up. Generally, players will go to level 8 on round 4-3, but it seems that maybe Rayditz went there on 4-1, maybe even 4-2 last round. I didn't quite see. But has this Singed with Umbrellas. It's one of my favorite units right now, is the Singed. I've personally won a lot of games with the Singed 2 with the book, or Running Man with book, as some people call him, because he just keeps on running, never stops. But Rayditz preserving a lot of HP here, still at 60, and has the makings of a solid comp if he can find some more legendary units here. It's not insanely strong right now, but it's definitely looking like it could be in the near future.
Yeah, he's going up against Aries here, who has quite a few Shadow with a Z in as well. Electric, sorry. Quite a few electric there, and was not quite able to take down Rayditz, though, because Rayditz still looking incredibly strong with these summoners.
Yeah, indeed. Doubles stabilizing a little bit, but Aries and Scott still falling very, very low. But we look in first place. It is Faye, the defending champion. I'll have to check in with her soon and see what comp she has landed here. I see her synergies here on the left. Summoner, Warden, Inferno. But yeah, a lot of these mid-game Infernos really, really paying dividends in terms of preserving your HP. ScottTheTeemo there takes the Amumu. Amumu, I don't think we've seen yet this game, but one of, if not the strongest unit in this current meta in this patch.
Yeah, let's go ahead and talk about Amumu, since the last time we had a fight night, Amumu was a bit of a joke, right?
Yeah.
So what has made Amumu so strong? Go ahead and just explain to everybody who may not know, why is Amumu such a powerful unit in this current meta?
Yeah, so it's actually pretty simple. Mumu, his old tier 1 stun radius was only in 2 hexes, but now it's 3 hexes, which is a huge difference when it comes to this TFT board. That 1 hex difference is pretty insane and makes him a good unit, as well as having good synergies with Infernos and Wardens. Wardens, obviously, as we talked about, are played a lot right now. And stunning the whole entire team is pretty good. Kind of a throwback to set 1 where Cho'Gaths and Sejuani's were very strong. Very, very similar to that.
Yeah, reminiscent of original Dota auto chess Tidehunter coming out and stunning the entire team. Definitely, of course, makes a good unit that can fit into pretty much any comp when you can CC the entire enemy's board. So definitely a strong unit. We'll have to see how that works out for everybody and how it plays out in this week's fight night.
Yeah, we will see. Yeah, Sphinx top of the lobby now. Found that tier 2 Nocturne. Yep, already has an extra Sivir and is on almost 50 gold, so might be looking for those tier 3 units soon. H2 also pretty healthy, still has that Vigar, has committed to 3 Shadows, 2 Mystics, and Mages, and it seems to be working out, at least in the mid game. I mean, as we get into late game here, I'm curious if it still remains to be strong. The Vigar pumping,
Vigar pumping off, kills 3 things right off the bat, but of course, the blender has been turned on. And it's starting to rip through compositions. H2 definitely going to fall to that Sphinx on a 7-win streak.
Ooh. Yeah, unfortunately, Aries does fall.
Yeah, we do lose Aries out in 8th place. ScottTheTeemo looking to follow shortly behind him at 12 HP. Did end up selling that brand and put those items onto his Azir. Does have the Amumu in as well. So maybe he can start to slowly stabilize, just hold on for maybe a couple more placements if possible. In Fight Night, every placement matters. You get more points the higher you place. So the difference of 7th and 6th place is impactful in the grand scheme of things. Definitely going to look to be trying to hang on in these games as long as these players possibly can.
Oh, for sure. And I wonder for Scott how he's going to decide to do that, whether it be trying to transition his comp at all or stick with the Summoner Infernos. Does have a Kha'Zix in there, which gives Desert, but it doesn't give Assassin or anything like that. I'm curious to see what he does during this turn because it could potentially be his last. Does make the tier 2 Kha'Zix here. Has a Taric. Decides to put it in. Already has 3 summoners, so the Yorick isn't quite necessary. Has Jeweled Gauntlet and decides to put it on the Amumu. I think the other option there would be to put it either on the Zyra or the Azir, but does in fact value the attack speed from the Inferno Hex on the Azir more.
Yeah, Scott's got a myriad of different synergies here. Summoners, Warden, Inferno, Ocean, Desert. We're going to see if it can all pay off. That's a massive Amumu ultimate coming out, but a massive one in return. The Taric ultimate does not go down, and that looks like this will spell disaster for Scott, but no! The Azir able to pull it out in the end, able to turn that around and pick up the kills, saving him in the end. So moving those items truly paying off. And we'll have to see if he can continue to hang on just a little bit longer as LudenKuma has fallen to 14 HP as well. If he can win 1 or 2 more rounds, he might be able to hold out for an extra placement, a higher placement, as Rayditz and LudenKuma are falling. Sphinx, however, sticking on that win streak.
Indeed, I would say the top 3 players are pretty safe for at least 2 rounds at the minimum, but Doublezz, Rayditz, LudenKuma, and ScottTheTeemo maybe even could die within 1, but 2 rounds for some of them.
We'll have to see. I mean, this is Scott versus LudenKuma. We're going to see the Amumu does not actually get the ultimate off, and Azir is going to fall. LudenKuma should be able to kill off Scott here. It might be enough damage, and it is going to take Scott down. He will go down in 7th. LudenKuma going to hang on, and Rayditz hanging on by a thread. 1 HP for Rayditz, the defending champion. Going to see if he can hold on a little bit longer, score some extra points.
Yeah, we will see. Has 2 singed. Needs a third one. Double locket though from the Thieves Gloves on that Malphite. That's going to be some pretty good RNG there. Maybe what's going to help him.
Rayditz going into potentially his final round with the LudenKuma no hands approach, as he is not even at his computer. That's the confidence of a defending champion. Oh, he's returning now to witness what happens as goes
versus
on.
H2 versus the Vygar.
Vygar, will we see if it can take down Rayditz? Rayditz trying to hide away, see if he can just hold on. Maybe Doublezz will dive first. We can't really see exactly what's happening. He's going to scout Doublezz to see if he's going to live a little bit longer, as Doublezz might fall, but Rayditz falls. He falls after Doublezz. He was able to hang on just long enough and hiding in the little pocket at the bottom of the Howling Fjord. He's able to stay alive, and Doublezz goes down in 6th. Rayditz will take 5th, scoring a couple extra points there.
Oh man, yeah, those pay-to-win boards, really paid dividends there. Be able to hide in the corner. I wasn't sure what board Doublezz was on there. Oh man, but that, the difference of a couple of points can be the difference here tonight in Fight Night. So that is, in fact, important. Sphinx,
especially with such a stacked lobby, I think it's incredibly important because any of these players can get a 1st or an 8th on any given game. So every single point is going to matter.
Oh, for sure. And Sphinx here on a 10-win streak has not lost a round in a very long time. Also made another Blade Master item, put it on the Kiana. Doesn't even need the Aatrox or the Yi at this point. Only has a tier 1 Rek'Sai, but it's just there for the synergy to help Nocturne stay alive longer. Sphinx still 40 gold, level 8. Maybe gonna push level 9, or might roll down for these tier 3s on the Sivir and the Aatrox, or not the Aatrox, sorry, the Nocturne.
Yeah, we'll see how this blender does into LudenKuma's board, but I expect to see it win handedly. Yeah, it's running through this board, going to take down LudenKuma here in 4th place, I believe, unless someone else was able to fall before, but no, everyone else is much too healthy for that. Faye losing some HP as H2. The Vygar, is it still in?
It's still in. Almost a tier 3. He's one away.
Remains the Vygar. And he's on a win streak of 4 right now in 2nd place. The Vygar staying strong. We'll see if it can stand to the blender composition of Sphinx. If he gets tier 3, maybe with proper targeting from the Vygar.
Yeah, it actually could win the lobby.
It could win the lobby. Proper targeting, though. So we'll have to see. Yeah, we're going to see if Faye can take down H2. We're going to watch the Vygar, see if he gets any double cast here. Going to be taking down unit after unit with this Primordial Burst. Going to take down 2 more there with the double cast. And this Ocean Mage composition with the Vygar carry.
Oh, Faye goes on to
24 damage to Faye as she drops down so incredibly low. It may just be one more round for her, but she will have an opportunity to get an item from the dragon right now.
Sphinx actually lost that last round. I assume it was to the H2 clone, but it could have been Faye's clone as well. I'm not sure. However, Sphinx does have a lot of gold, so even though it lost that round and lost the win streak, is still going to be rolling for those tier 3 units after this dragon round. Faye getting a locket, which will be her 3rd locket, in fact. Faye, a lot of gold as well, though. Going down dangerously low before spending it. I wonder if her plan is to level up here?
I mean, I think that has to be what she's doing, trying to get one more unit in. At the very least, she is spending all of this gold. In one way or another, all of this will be gone after this dragon round, just looking to see what she gets. There's a little bit more gold from the dragon, of course, as well. And we're going to see what she does with this. Locket goes
rolling. Okay.
Maybe going to look for a level up if she finds something, but at this point, not going to be able to level up anymore. Finds the tier 2 Kiana. What else can she find? There's a Singed.
Looking for legendaries, but these legendaries just aren't really showing up for her. Wants to find the tier 2 Mumu, I guess, but these rolls are looking pretty doomed, in fact.
Yeah, not actually really able to find much of anything. I don't think a tier 2 Kiana is going to make the difference. Going against a clone army, though, maybe it's enough, but it is the blender. Does get very good Zephyrs, but doesn't quite hit the Nocturne. We're going to see if the Nocturne can go down. The Annie's focusing it. Everything's focusing it, but it's hanging on, and it heals just a little too much.
Ooh.
It finally goes down. This is just the clone army, however, but Faye is able to hang on against it.
Yeah, H2 taking out Sphinx. Wait, did H2 find the Vigar 3?
He may have. I mean, if H2, of course, that would explain him taking down Sphinx as well. Vigar probably had some good target selection, able to find the win for H2. Is H2 going to win with this Vigar? We talked that it was going to be interesting when he started this game with the tier 2 Vigar.
Wait,
and
my game just bugged.
So far, I would say it's been rather interesting as he now has a tier 3 Vigar hyper carry, and he will be going against a clone army here.
H2 just sold one of his units.
My Nami got sold. Now I don't have Mystic. I'm 7 out of 8.
Oh, apparently his game bugged.
Oh no, I guess I don't go 9.
Interesting. I haven't quite seen that one before. Maybe he could recover from that because he was in a very dominant position. Sphinx does take out Faye. I'm not quite sure what's. Maybe you can find the Nami again.
It's so the most interesting game. The storied ascent to the pedestal of number 1 in this game. The victory with the tier 3 Vigar. Oh, there's my Nami. Uh-oh. We'll see if he can find another one.
I mean, honestly, while a Nami 2 is very good, I mean, he has the 4 Ocean again, so maybe that's going to be enough to carry the Vigar.
We'll have to see. I mean, if this Vigar can pick the proper targets at the start here again, might be able to win. Takes down 1 unit here, but he is stunned. We're going to see if he gets a multicast here. That would be important. Does not take down the Nocturne, and that's going to mean 1 round down for H2.
It doesn't against this
That's
fight.
No, of course not.
The lack of Nami here are really hurting, but we go to carousel round, so chance for another item. Or a Nami, in fact.
Okay.
Rebuilding it.
It was a tier 2 Nami, though. We'll see if a tier 1 makes the difference, but of course he should pick this up and see if that crowd control can be enough for this Vigar to hang on and take this victory over Sphinx's blender composition. We're gonna have to see. The Nami is in, still looking for another tier 2. That's a Steel Lux.
That is very interesting. In fact, I would be tempted to put that in, seeing as it would buy time versus the versus these blenders, but decides not to. Can't really sacrifice any unit here. They're all providing some good synergies.
Yeah, well, we'll go in against Sphinx once again. Let's see if this Vigar can pull this off. Gonna see where this first Primordial Burst lands. Takes down Nami, a double cast, takes down 1 more. Needs to get this next cast off, does not. The Assassin's able to take him down, and H2 might end up falling off of this one.
I beat this guy before.
Malphite gonna get 1 big ultimate. The Yi needs to take down at least 1 more unit. I don't know. It was just barely enough. 3 HP. 1 more chance for H2.
1 more chance.
But I don't know if he's got it in him here with this composition anymore. I think the tier 2 Nami was so incredibly important, and unfortunately, it's truly tragic that the bug happened. But we may see our boy the Vigar go down in this round here.
I wonder, made the tier 2 Sivir, decides to get rid of Shadows and is going to put Thieves' Gloves on the... Okay, that's a locket. That's pretty good. Although the Nocturne still just jumping to this Vigar. Oh!
Okay, this is it. This is it. The Vigar takes down the Nocturne. He's going to try and take out a couple more, continuing to get these Primordial Bursts. The double cast going at the same target. Little bit of a misstep there from the Vigar, but... The champion of our hearts, the tier 3 Vigar, hanging on for H2, getting him to another PvE round, grabbing him a hush. We'll see if that can do anything at all for him.
I don't know. Sphinx started at level 9. It doesn't even have the tier 3 Sivir yet. Oh, H2 is buying Sivers to deny Sphinx Sivers. I was wondering, but that does make a lot of sense there. This game honestly just comes down to Vigar targeting.
Oh, absolutely. It's entirely RNG of this Vigar hitting the Nocturne, hitting the Sivir, hitting just getting the targets that are most important at the time. Probably the Kha'Zix as well, as it's a big threat
Yeah.
to the Vigar.
No,
And
for,
we're gonna have to see, because H2 only needs to win 2 more rounds,
just for corner
but he needs to win them without losing any rounds.
Mm-hmm.
It's all coming down to this: can the Vigar pull off the proper target selection? Is this a challenge
Come back.
Vigar or an Iron Vigar? We will find out today. He puts in
I
another loss.
I like this play. Yi taking out Mystics is irrelevant because Mystics doesn't do anything versus Blenders. It does decide to sell the Sivir there, so maybe Sphinx had found the Sivir. I didn't quite realize, but didn't have Shadow buff either. So just putting Steel Luxes in the corner to buy time. Okay, yeah, the Sivir was tier 3.
By the time Vigar takes down 2 targets, not the
It's
Nocturne, but it
working.
is another high priority
No, it's
with
not.
that
Sivir kills me.
Kha'Zix,
Nope.
but the Nocturne just melts everybody. And, you know, CH2 was fun watching, buddy, but he's going to end in second. Still nothing to scoff at. Gets the Vigar start, the tier 2 Vigar start, and brings it all the way to second place in the first round of such a stacked lobby. Incredible to see. But congrats to Sphinx for taking the first round. Khroen, you said it was looking good. Didn't want to commit to the he was gonna get first, but I knew you felt it. You had it in there. It was,
I mean, honestly, if either a bug or H2 selling, not quite sure what happened, but for the Nami, if that Nami has stayed in, I could see H2 winning that and Sphinx getting second. But unfortunately, that was not to be. So yeah, Sphinx picking up the victory here. I knew it would at least be top 3, and it was very, very dominant up until that point. As we see the scores here, Cass.
yeah, I mean, Sphinx starting off really strong. A last second fill in coming out, replacing Chicken with Boba. Gonna start with a win. 13 points for him. H2 in second. Faye getting third. LudenKuma in fourth. And then Rayditz, Doublezzzz, Scott, and Aries filling out the bottom 4. But if you loved what you saw here, make sure to cheer. Make sure to send tips. All that money goes into the prize pool and the bounty that goes to all these incredible players that we have here.
Indeed, make sure to show your support for whoever you want to see win. Sphinx starting off strong, but there are players that are right behind him. And as we've said, this lobby is full of very, very talented players. So I could see anybody taking the next game, provided the RNG and the decision making goes in their favor. As we start up game number 2 very, very soon.
Yeah, let's go ahead and jump in there, and we're going to see the opening carousel, see what everybody is hovering around at the start. They're all on the top side. There's the rod, and who's going to get it? It looks like Aries.
Aries,
gonna walk away with it. LudenKuma and him were running right next to each other, making it hard for us to tell, but Aries able to pick up that rod, and we'll see how he's able to make use of that.
Indeed. We're on a cloud map this time. We'll change of pace. I don't think we've seen a cloud map in a while, but it does give dodge chance to any unit that stands in there. And Kiana is cloud, so as we see Luden with a Yasuo here, if he finds a Kiana and decides to keep the Yasuo for some reason, we'll get that cloud synergy. Very, very early.
Yeah, and you mentioned that this map has the least value for a Kiana, but still, there's probably a few opportunities to use it, especially just in the early game, getting that cloud synergy up and running, trying to set up for some early wins.
Definitely. It's not super impactful, but early game, having the extra 20% dodge chance is pretty good. And as a late game tech, it's also definitely very good, especially if there's going to be any blender players, which I would bet there's going to be at least one. As seeing the prevalence of it, and the dominance of it last game. I mean,
finding the opportunity to be the only blender player in the lobby, I think, seems very strong. It's very nice to not have any contention on that comp. One of the issues that it would have run into before is not being able to find all the pieces because so many people were going it. But now that the meta's evolved into a lot more different options, finding those pockets of time where you get to be the only one is, well, a surefire way to find a victory if you are a Sphinx.
I would say so, most definitely. We see H2 here with not too much. I mean, has a couple oceans, couple wardens, so it's a decent early game start, but definitely needs to find, I don't know, a rod or a sword here to make some good universal early game items. Otherwise, you might lose a bit of HP here. Maybe the next roll will be favorable. Find a tier 2, but a little bit of an average start.
We'll have to see what he can grab off of this next PvE round. Looking around, we got a couple rods for Aries.
Ooh, this is a really good start.
The Giant's Belt, so that could be a Morello's.
Morello's, and then maybe a Locket or a Death Cap or something of the sort, but this is super good. I would be instantaneously thinking about Morello's and like a Death Cap later on as Sins or something, and has a Nico as well, so that would be even easier to accomplish.
Yeah, very early. Nico's going to probably be holding on to that for a little while. Sit on his bench. But I think very valuable item to have in the current kind of state of the game, with a lot of these compositions going to those high levels, getting a lot of those legendary units being very impactful. So being able to help yourself get closer to that tier 2, definitely a very strong item. You'd probably be happier seeing it a bit later because you can't really use it right now, but having it in general, very nice to have in any game.
Yeah, it does sacrifice another drop that would have been gold or another item, so it's a bit of dead weight right now. But as long as the early game and mid game is okay enough to last until finding those legendaries, it will really pay off at that point.
Yeah, we see a couple wardens already here for Faye as well, the Nautilus as well as the Nasus.
It's enough to win versus the Locket of H2. See a Renekton coming around
tier
the
2
floor.
Renekton, which, while not as strong as it used to be, still a pretty powerful early unit, especially as a tier 2 this early in the game. Still going to be rather strong. And expect it will probably take down this Vladimir here. Yeah.
Which is important because then Faye can sell that extra Renekton on her bench and make up to 10 gold, gaining extra from Econ. I think she got a bit of gold at the beginning and 4 items because she has a locket, bow, and a sword there. So a pretty good start here from Faye, especially if she's able to maintain this win streak.
Yeah, absolutely. And finding the early Nautilus is very nice to get that Warden synergy rolling with that 3-cost unit.
Some Predators here from Scott. Yeah, don't see Predators that often, but they definitely can work, especially if you find a lot of Kog'Maws early, and Scott already has 4 of them. So looking like a possibility for a comp that he commits to.
Yeah, I mean, before the cast, we had talked about that Predators had kind of fallen out of favor very heavily, hyper rolling pretty much non-existent, at least rolling down to 0 gold pretty much never happening. And, the only exception that you mentioned for seeing maybe a Predator composition that did roll down a bit, or even just going Predators in general, was if you had,
a lot of early Kog'Maws
early on. And Scott, he's already got 4 of them, so we'll see. It could be very possible for him to hit more before he makes that decision. And if he does hit a few more Kog'Maws, definitely could see him start to roll down for those.
No, for sure. Even if he hits only 1 more between now and Krugs, if I was him, I'd be tempted to roll a bit down to try to find that tier 3 as well. As I mentioned earlier, wouldn't want to roll down to 0 gold, but would still want to try to make that happen, as Predators can be very good if the items go along with it. Itemizing that Kog'Maw with maybe Runan's red buff or static shivs, or even the Ludens, I think could be very good. So definitely some options there for the Kog'Maw.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you do get very lucky early on, especially with not that many people going for those compositions anymore, it definitely can be a good way to at least get a solid placement. And in a lobby this stacked, that's not necessarily a bad strategy to just go for more 3rd and 4th placements, as well as being consistent is what's more important in these kind of lobbies.
Indeed. I wonder, it was definitely one of the Faye victories where she had basically just a lot of 3rd places, maybe a 4th and a 2nd, but that consistency led her to be victorious that night. So yeah, just playing for those top 4 finishes can definitely prove to be worthwhile.
Yeah, I mean, we also
What the
there's
heck?
the other example of it. Unfortunately, it was our good friend Striving Light had 2 first place finishes, a second place, and then like a 7th, which ended up
Yeah.
barely
I'm not
squeezing
selling
her
stuff,
away
but
from having a victory
doing 9
on a
bucks
fight
per
night.
view.
So keeping the very consistency, it's not just about having those first place finishes, it's about consistently having
All
those
3
top
items I needed
finishes
were not
is what's going
there.
to bring you that win here.
Oh, definitely. You know, well, unfortunate for her, it speaks to just also the level of the competition, being able to place that highly and still be narrowly beat by another player. I mean, you got to really bring your A game, and, you know, consistency matters is the bottom line to that story. Rayditz here, though, has a Yasuo too, and some blender-looking items, perhaps.
Whoops.
Maybe that is a route that he's looking to go here. Hasn't quite committed. No items are made yet, but has made the Yasuo too, which makes me think it's going to go that direction.
Yeah, and Rayditz is sitting in last place currently, so on the next carousel, he may have an opportunity to grab that spatula that he needs and head towards that blender composition. It looks like he's going to lose this round as well, so sticking towards that route.
Yeah, has a decent amount of gold.
I definitely feel like that's what he will look for. We're going to have to wait until the carousel, of course, to find out, but I think that seems very likely as of now. But he does have to, of course, find that Nocturne, or else it's kind of in vain.
And he has a bit of time to do so. I see players even maybe get down to between 30 to 40 HP at the lowest before they start rolling all their gold down and finding the tier 2 Nocturne and Sivir. And I've seen players, you know, go from 40 HP deficit from 8th place to 7th and still managing to get some victories even from that point, depending on how much money they're able to save up and if their rolls are kind to them.
But I can't get it in my item.
Yeah, and we're going to have Rayditz versus H2. Rayditz going to lose a lot more HP here. Again, these Wardens are far too tanky. He has 4 Warden already. He's not even doing any damage to H2's composition. They're just going to take down Rayditz pretty quickly there, do heavy amount of damage to Rayditz. He's definitely losing a lot more HP than I think he wants to, but like you said, there are bigger HP deficits that you can come back from in TFT. And we're going to go into the Krug round here. A lot of decisions will be made on this round.
Well, depending on what items you get, I mean, could maybe see a spatula drop here for some players and maybe Rayditz. We do also see 200 HP players between Faye and Aries. Faye was the player who was win streaking towards the beginning of last game, as well as I think she usually tends to do here on Fight Night. And then manages to consistently get top 4. I believe she was either 3rd or 4th last game. Don't quite remember which, but I know she was in the top 4. Yeah. I see H2 here. Yeah, she was indeed 3rd place. LudenKuma in 4th.
Looking kind of bad.
H2 in 2nd, as we see him here on the Krugs. Gets a vest. And the Ward's taking a long time to kill the Krugs here. And the Nikos as well.
No damage is happening on our screens, but there is a Nikos. Yeah, that is a very impactful item to pick up. Unfortunately, does not have a Vigar to use that on this time around to get the tier 2 Vigar. That would have been really important here in his composition, but it's all right.
One. Halfway there. It's one more than the Nico.
All right, well, you know, it's true picking up the Vigar. We'll see if he actually does anything with that. I expect him to probably, well, he may go with mages, so he may actually use it. May go for a similar composition to the last game. I don't expect to see another tier 2 or tier 3 Vigar, I'm sorry, but hopefully we do. I mean, I would love to see it again. I would love to see the run back of the Vigar, give it another chance where maybe this time he doesn't sell his Nami off. But we're going to have to see if that pans out at all.
I think that composition is one that finds you more than so you look to find it. It was definitely the very early triple Vigar roll that led him in that direction. Don't think he'll really be chasing that one this game, but hey, could be wrong. Maybe H2 saw the Vigar light and it's like, yo, this is nuts. This is broken. I'm going to do it now. But probably not. We see Faye's Chad looking NASA's there with RFC and Infinity Edge and a locket.
He's got the DK for
there.
sure.
Oh, yeah.
big siphoning strikes off, even though Nasus does not have that in TFT, but still looking like it with those big AD items that Faye has given him.
And
And
second
Scott's
back
still
from
got some
Scott, yeah.
breads. Look at this. There's the T3 Kog'Maw. He's
Yeah,
got these breads in.
with 20 gold left, so not bad. We got 20 gold to this turn, which means he was like a little lower than people would generally like to be, but it's not too bad here. Preserving his HP is at 83. Doesn't have any items for the Kog'Maw, unfortunately, just a tier, but still could make it work if he finds some into the future, whether it be Luden's or Static Shiv there.
Yeah, and he's also got 2 Mundos already, so he's pretty close to the tier 2 Mundo. And he can look for that Singed in the future. That's like the big unit he's going to be looking for. Get that 3rd poison, have that as well. Have that in the front line helping out. For now, still losing a couple rounds, but has a lot of HP to play with. And this is against Aries, who has not lost, so you're not really too beat up over that.
Yeah, Faye did lose last round, however, though. The Nasus was not quite enough to be able to take out whoever it was that she was facing. Doublezzzz here is kind of low, but it looks like his composition has strengthened quite significantly. Has tier 2 of almost every single unit besides the Nautilus, and with a Zyra, Varus, and Diana, like these are really good mid-game units. Has the Nikos as well, so this will probably help him win streak up until at least after Wolves, I would guess, unless he runs into Aries, maybe.
Yeah, we'll have to see. He's going to go against Sphinx as the first challenger to that. Does have an Olaf in right now, a couple Glacials, a couple Electric. See if it can take down Doublezzzz comp. So far, the Glacial procs are going kind of in his favor, but...
Ooh, the Olaf surviving. Ooh, Varus, nice.
Yeah. Ooh, the Kazakhs, though, stayed alive at very low health, was able to deal enough damage, and Doublezzzz is going to lose that round. But still pretty close to being powerful and may be able to start finding his way back into this game shortly.
That fight really came down to the Olaf just surviving for so long there. The Zyra Morello's plants weren't hitting him, so he was just healing up while his ultimate was active there at the end. Doublezzzz, however, first pick, so we'll see what he decides to grab. Aries is last.
Rayditz just grabbed the spat. That's
Yep.
what we were expecting, and that I think all but confirms the blender that he will be going for.
Blender online. Let's see it. He is low here, as opposed to Sphinx last game was able to preserve some HP, but Rayditz already at 44 HP a couple rounds before the Wolves, so dropping a little bit dangerously low here. But as I said earlier, it's not to really worry. People have come back from worse scenarios while transitioning into Blender.
Yeah, we'll just have to keep our eyes on him. He does go up to level 7 as well. Picks up a Rek'Sai. Does have the 1 Nocturne, but not quite on the tier 2 that he needs. Finds a Kha'Zix, though. That's important. Going to slowly be finding these pieces of the composition as he builds toward this. But he does roll all of his gold and doesn't find the tier 2 on the Nocturne.
Little bit awkward there for sure. Not finding the tier 2 Sivir or the Nocturne. And the Nocturne gets Zephyred as well. I mean, it doesn't really have that many items, just the 1 Blade Master Spatula. But facing Doublezzzz here, who leveled to 7 and found an Annie. I think Doublezzzz will definitely win this one.
Yeah, Blender not quite on at full power yet. The Nocturne is able to deal a good amount of damage there and prevent a little bit of the damage for Rayditz, but still going to lose some more HP, and that's not really what he wanted to see there. Going to have to maybe look at a reposition just in case there's more Zephyrs hitting that corner.
Okay, finds the tier 2 Nocturne, so maybe this is winnable. Needs some items, though. Only has 6 total items, so this Wolf round will be very important for Rayditz. Needs to find a tier, a glove, and hey, it's just probably 4 items. He gets 2 gloves, a sword, and then a tier for the Sivir there.
Now I come back.
It puts the cloak already on the Sivir. I think it's actually a little bit of a misplay, just because you can abuse the mana bug, I suppose, with combining the item that way, but just a very small part there. If I watch this Nocturne to see if it's able to help win this round.
Yeah, it is going to get to attack a lot more than on the previous round, but does get stunned up away by the Talia. Going to be able to regen a little bit with those Umbral
Playing
Blades.
bouncy house here.
Yeah, the Talia putting him in the bounce house, not letting him get enough damage down. And H2 is going to end up taking that round over the Blender, getting a little bit of revenge from last round against a different opponent this time, though.
Yeah, definitely tragic. There was a world where Rayditz could have won that round, but again, the Talia, I think she double casted twice on the Nocturne specifically, so pretty good RNG for Aries there.
Yeah, and we're going to go into the Wolf round. So this is kind of the moment of truth for Rayditz here. If he can find the pieces he needs, all the items that he needs to find, well, then his comp will be fully online, and we'll see him start to slowly stabilize and climb back towards potentially winning this game.
Oh, there's a tier.
There's a tier. That's one of them.
Oh,
Now
only
let's see if
2
he gets
items.
more.
That's what you don't like to see there if you're Rayditz. Finds the
Tiers
Kiana, I
fully
guess.
stacked for Rayditz here. He does find one, so you like to see that, but the other one is the tier rolling down his left cheek as he does not get enough to make this Nocturne fully pumped up. And we'll see if that's enough, but I don't think a Hush on a tier 1 Sivir is going to make that big of a difference in these rounds yet.
Yeah, probably not. I mean, it could if Sivir gets some really lucky bounces with her Ricochet, and she doesn't just get looked at and like sneezed on and fall over because she's a tier 1 unit. Facing LudenKuma here, who is pretty strong. 0 gold, so is also rolled down. Ooh,
Yeah,
Hush
he is on a
Mumu.
win streak. That was big. Getting that Hush on the win streak does get bursted down, and we're going to have the Nami get the wave across everybody. A big Tibbers in the back line, but the Blender's staying alive. The Nocturne putting out all the damage necessary, and Rayditz is going to take down LudenKuma, who was on that win streak, so he's going to slay it. May have been the Hush. Maybe the Hush was enough. Maybe the tier 1 Sivir with the Hush, I was sleeping on it. But I'm not entirely sure if that was what prevented the Amumu from casting there, as it did get crit down right at the start.
Yeah, I think if Mumu didn't get insta hushed, he would have ulted, but it would have been close either way. It's only a tier 1 Mumu with no items, but yeah, either way, the Hush still is strong.
So Aries is at 100 HP. He's got 50 gold, 11 win streak. And did you happen to notice that you see those, right?
Double Nico's there from Aries here.
That's pretty good.
Probably is leveling up to level 8 next round, or I would assume so. This is such a dominant position to be in right now. Gets the Zephyr on Scott's most important unit as well. I mean, still just has the Nasus carry, but even still, it's working out.
Part of me wants to call that he's gonna 100% win this lobby.
100 HP win?
100 HP win. Because the double
that's bold.
is so strong. The only problem I have with that is I think he could lose one match in the next, or one round in the next few rounds. In the next few rounds, he could definitely lose. But I think when he finds the unit that he's going to use the Nikos on, he's going to just win out.
Yeah, I'd be curious to see what Aries does for this turn. Faye still needs the Olaf too and has a Nico. She should probably be rolling down perhaps as well, but maybe thinks that she's strong enough. I mean, she is 61 HP, has the Infinity Edge. Oh man, that's a Crystal Lux from Scott. Finding 4 crystals right now. That's insane. Super good versus the Blender player, but just good in general.
Yeah, crazy. Thank you, Faye, for scouting that for us and using your cursor to circle it repeatedly.
I'm sure the lobby pinged it. Everyone's like, "What?"
Everyone's like, Crystal Lux is crazy. I mean, it's a very, very strong unit to be picked up right now.
Oh, yeah.
And that might help Scott stabilize. I mean, he is on a very low HP, 27 to be exact. But this Crystal Lux is going to actually help win this round, I think. Not quite. Tibbers just enough. But Scott still definitely handling that round a lot better. That's also another player with the double Nikos. I think it was Doublezzzz has 2 Nikos on his bench as well, unless it was a bug from something that was just showing the bench of Aries, who does actually end up losing a round.
Yeah, the 100 HP. Yeah. I was gonna say that's a very, very bold prediction. It is super rare nowadays that people will get 100 HP victories, because a lot of times, if you can win streak up to this point and you're rolling down, it's okay to not roll all your gold down. It's okay to take some losses because it sets you up to be in a better position to win the game and get first place, as opposed to just playing super aggressively when you don't really need to.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
The only thing I thought that would have done it is because he went to 8. I thought if he found the unit that was going to get Nico's,
True.
I think he would have had it. If he found one of those legendary units that he wanted to do the Nico's on, I think it could have been close. But unfortunately, it does fall. But I still think has a very strong case to win the rest of this game.
Yeah, I would agree. Scott here putting poisons in. H2 still on level 7, but has a lot of gold. Has a brand 2 with no ability power on him quite yet. Maybe H2 puts the rod on him, or maybe just saves it to maybe find a Singe later or something. But still has a Seraphs. Not terrible. Fights Doublezz here. Doublezz has a Lux. Or that's not a Lux, that's a Zyra. Whoops.
It happens to the best of us. The Vygar still, you know, pumping out that damage, killing off a ghoul.
Oh yeah, H2 has Vygar 2 again, and has another Vygar on the bench.
He's going for the Vygar 3, committing to the dream. Of course, I respect that, you know, commit to what you're doing. Playing the Vygar. I would love to see H2 go for Vygar every single game and see what he can do with it. But he is in 3rd. He's still doing well on this game. I mean, maybe this is just a strategy that he's been hiding. That's something that's actually quite good, but it's not something I've seen a lot of, if really any of it, recently. So
yeah,
definitely an interesting composition coming out from H2.
It does have a strong front line. Has the 4 Wardens and the Guardian's Angel on the Nautilus. Very, very strong. Yeah, the Brand, Vygar, and Talia, but the mages, I mean, I guess they're pumping enough damage to secure victories here. Usually, at least.
Yeah, I mean, this one's looking like it probably will be another victory as Vygar's killing off a couple more units because the double cast kills off the Zyra. Tibbers comes down, but that's not going to be enough. I don't think it can't get through all of these Wardens in time to get to the Vygar, and no, that will be another victory for H2. ScottTheTeemo down to 4 HP. Rayditz on 8. The blender might fall much sooner this time around.
Yeah, for Rayditz, another very important round in terms of the items that he manages to secure. Has found only 1 Sivir so far, but has 7 Nocturnes. Yikes.
I have 14 gold.
Unfortunate for sure there. Hopefully gets another Infinity Edge here with items for Rayditz. But yeah, Blender is kind of a 1st or 8th comp. And if you don't hit, it's looking like an 8th. But Scott being really low as well. We'll see who falls first, if either of them.
Yeah, it's a hit or get hit world, and we'll see if Rayditz gets hit here. Trying to get that tier 3 Nocturne.
Oh, sword? Actually, he finds Infinity Edge.
Oh my god.
Okay, if Rayditz finds tier 3 Nocturne, he's 1 away.
Oh my god.
Okay, is the dream happening?
What happened?
One more roll? Oh, that's the Sivir. Oh, this is so awkward.
I saw the Rek'Sai and I got excited for a second.
Okay, I think this is correct. Makes the IE on the Nocturne, makes the Seraph on the Sivers once the round starts. Okay, there's still time for Rayditz to get the tier 3 Nocturne. It was unfortunate that he was 1 off there and had to sell in order to like live and survive, but it might be worth it here.
Right, here he goes. He's going against LudenKuma, who is one of the healthier people right now. We have to watch this Nocturne. Takes down the Annie before Tibbers. It's dripping through the comp. It's doing plenty of damage here. Rayditz gonna stay alive against LudenKuma, dropping a lot of HP there. ScottTheTeemo might fall still. We'll have to see. Little bit. Vygar way too strong, gonna take down ScottTheTeemo here, and that will be an 8th place finish for him. But Rayditz is the one to watch right now. This blender that is 1 away. Wait, maybe not. Did he sell one of the Nocturnes?
Yeah, he sold one of the Nocturnes last turn to buy the Sivir too.
He did. You're right. I barely missed that, but he still has the opportunity to make his way towards that tier 3 Nocturne. Only 2 away, has the full items on it, and he's still looking very strong with his composition. It's just a matter of if this Nocturne can stay alive.
Yeah, he's even choosing to not put his Nocturne in the locket in favor of just dodging Zephyrs. If that Nocturne ever gets Zephyr and he loses a round, he's out of this game.
Exactly.
So very smart play from Rayditz there.
Yeah, and the Nocturne does get into the back line this time around and will take down the unit so quickly. That's going to be a lot of damage. He might kill someone off here, and he
Doubles,
does
yep.
take down Doubles. A lot of damage. Rayditz comp does so much. The Blender showing how powerful it truly is.
Blunder's at full force now, baby.
Barely finding those items of full Infinity Edge off of the PvE round. Just like a sign from God to give him this opportunity to come back in this game. And we'll see if Rayditz can, with his divine intervention, win this game.
On mine. I mean, I'm level
Oh
7,
man,
go to Mystic.
I'm so curious. I ended up selling the extra silver that he had to roll for a Nocturne, I guess, because he did have 4 silvers, I believe. Rayditz, let's see if you can do it. I mean, this was the exact scenario that I was calling for that needed to happen. He needs to get a full Infinity Edge off of the Raptors, and then it is possible. And yeah, no Zephyr is here, but against Faye, who is very strong right now, Zerkers does kind of counter.
This could be rough. We're gonna see this Olaf is trying to get its the Glacial went onto Nocturne, but the huge umbral slash kills him to full from like 1%. So incredibly close. If that Nocturne went down there in that Glacial stun, that would have been it for Rayditz, but instead it's a massive chunk of damage onto Faye. And Sphinx dropping down to 1 HP, but Rayditz hangs on.
See that Rayditz smile right there?
I know, he's
super gritted after that round.
Just dabbed. Rayditz just dabbing on his opponents right now. Doesn't care. Letting the RNG flow. Letting the Blender pop off.
That's so force of nature. And Rayditz grabs it. This is the route that Rayditz needs to win. He gets... okay, he could have, if he didn't get that force of nature, could have taken the disarm for the Sivir. Would have been good, but might as well be able to find that Janna, find a Master Yi, put Mystics and 3 clouds in. Already has 2 clouds because the Kiana, but I mean, Rayditz, he's looking strong. That's on a 5-cost unit as well. Has more gold to roll with. 2 Nocturnes away. Ocean Lux, but not something he needs.
Yeah, not finding this Nocturne still. Probably everybody in the lobby except for Rayditz is very thankful for that. But that Fawn gonna allow him to put in an additional Nocturne. See if he can get a little mini blender, a little sidecar blender going with the main one.
Has Nocturne on the front line, just a tank. I mean, that's 2 seconds of steal right there. So just buys time for the other Nocturne to be able to kill everything. This is Crystal, though. Crystal is a blender counter. Can H2 take him down?
We'll see how much damage they can do this. Tarek, that's a big Tarek ultimate in H2, trying to be the Blender Slayer that everyone needs, but Nocturne's hanging on with the life steal. It finally goes down, and that will be enough. Rayditz will fall to H2. H2 saying, not again. Not today will I fall a second time to the Blender, and H2 takes Rayditz out in 6th place. Sphinx falls as well in 5th, and H2 with his Vigar looking to hold on again in the top 4.
Yeah, definitely H2 saying not again. This time he is the Blender Slayer. Oh man, that's some sort of poetic justice right there in game number 2 here. H2 securing himself a top 4 and maybe looking for the win, but we still have 3 very strong compositions remaining between LudenKuma, Aries, and Faye.
Yeah, and we're going to see H2 versus LudenKuma here. We're going to see if this Tarek, this tier 2 Tarek can get another big ultimate off, and he does. It's massive, but on the other side, LudenKuma got a Tarek of his own, gets a good ultimate off as well. We're going to see if this tier 2 brand can start to pop off, get a lot of damage out. Tarek with an additional ultimate as this brand goes out. The tier 1 Tarek just can't generate mana as fast as the tier 2. Going to cast another ultimate now, going to keep them alive from the Pyroclasm, but it's not going to be enough. Tarek again, this is quite a long battle going back and forth, but the tier 2 Tarek going to prevail over the tier 1. And he's going to do it. H2 staying alive a bit longer. Faye going to fall during all of that going on, and LudenKuma down to 8 HP.
Oh man, yeah, that was just Tarek ulting back and forth until the fight ended, and turns out that tier 2 Tarek is a bit stronger than the tier 1. Unfortunately there for LudenKuma, but not the Vigar again, we see.
But That fight being very, very outrageous as Tarek is himself with the multiple ultimates coming down. And now we've got items from Dragon. And we're going to see what is going to go to each person here. Don't worry about Vigar, H2 says. I think everybody, including all of Twitch chat, is very concerned about what's going on with this Vigar right now. Why it keeps being picked up. Why it keeps getting to the top 3. These are the questions we all have, and maybe H2 can answer them for us.
Hopefully this is a strategy. Maybe this is H2's secret strat, like you said earlier. I mean, first game it looked just kind of like, well, this happened, so let's go with it. But going for it 2 games in a row, getting to the top 3, has 5 Vigars right now. I mean, he's rolling. Let's see what he finds here. Unfortunately, a bad item on the carousel. Yeah, sells the other Vigars. So this is a brand 3 looking game here. Already has 2 tier 2 brands. But facing Aries, who is very strong right now.
Yeah, we're going to see if this Singe can slow down the Tarek of H2. But we so far see the Tarek popping off, getting an early ultimate out, trying to keep its carries alive. Yep. But H2's composition is starting to fall down on the back side of this. The Amumu getting these constant stuns out, being alternated with the Nami Tsunamis. And that's going to take down H2 in 3rd place. LudenKuma falling down as well.
Aries.
And Aries is going to take it. We did see him have just an incredible start, having those 2 Nikos as well while being on 100 HP for so long. Definitely looked like he was going to have a good opportunity to win, and he takes it. But still H2 being so consistent.
Yeah, definitely.
Top 3 with a Vigar composition that he has played 2 times in a row.
I wouldn't really call that second one a Vigar composition per se.
Vigar composition. Hyper carry Vigar that he was running there.
Fair enough, but no, super impressive performance from Aries there. You know, not the 100 HP victory, but still played that game exceptionally well. Had that Morello's Locket Deathcap Singe there to take the victory. That was quite impressive. Oh man, some good games thus far, and we see the scores here, Cass. Oh man, they're looking pretty close.
Yeah, we see the Vigar one trick H2 in 1st place with his consistent performances at 22 points. LudenKuma has kind of been quietly playing very consistently in all of these games and is at 20 points in 2nd place. Sphinx and Faye chasing right at their heels at 19 and 18 respectively. And then Aries as well staying close at 16, while Rayditz, Doublezzzz, and Scott pull up the rear. And we'll have to see if they can catch up after we head to a short break. And we come back with more TFT action right here on Heroes Earth.
Welcome back, everybody, to tonight's Fight Night presented by GiantSlayerTV. We've had quite a couple of games to start off here tonight, and we got 2 more definitely good showings going to be coming out here very, very soon. Oh man, Casa, I ask this every single time, so I will not stop this tradition. Who are you looking for in terms of the placements, or just who do you want to see take some games here in the last 2 games?
Oh, I mean, you already know this player, just immaculate performances so far. Really bringing out some meta breaking stuff, you know. The boy H2 coming in, gonna continue this consistency, gonna keep picking Vigar every single game, and he's gonna win the whole thing. I do expect to see a lot more consistency out of Faye, though, as she has continued to be top 4 every time. So we'll see if she can compete. But I don't know if you can compete with the Vigar, baby. We're going to see if anyone can take down H2.
I wonder, does H2 go for another Vigar again this game? Casa, yes or no? Call it right now.
You know my answer already.
It's a yes.
I'm going red all the way. He's picking another Vigar, and then I'll double down. He'll pick it again in game 4, and if he does it, it doesn't matter. I don't have a reputation for ever being right on this stream, so I can say that with confidence. Anyways, you're going to get right into game number 3. Everyone going for that spatula, and Doublezzzz is gonna pick it up.
And Double's looking to go a blender this game, I suppose. I mean, it's early to tell, but starting off with a spatula definitely means that Doubles is going to be looking, or at least considering that option. Oh, we have mountain map, so 3 different so far. Yeah, that mountain map. That would do some variety, but the mountain map will, of course, provide a stacking HP buff. 30 HP per round that a unit stays on that. So just some extra added tankiness there. And something important to note is that a Kiana is mountain on this map. So when combined with that Talia there, will give the mountain buff, which provides 1500 HP shield to a random unit on your team. Something that's definitely going to be good in the early game.
Yeah.
You're finding one.
Definitely gives you a lot of value onto holding on to an early Talia to see if you can get that Kiana, as that mountain buff will help you win a lot of early rounds. We will have to see who's going to find those Kianas, who's going to find those Talias as we go forward. But so far, items for Doubles looking pretty good. Getting the spatula and a tier 2 pieces that you do want for the blender composition. Obviously, the BF swords are much more important than the tier is, but still, overall, you're going to want one eventually. And a Nico's being picked up. Another early Nico's.
The Nico's as a blender is a little weird, champ, I guess, because I mean it does help you secure the tier 2 Nocturne and tier 2 Sivir a bit faster. I even saw a player earlier today. I was watching some TFT streams as I was waking up, and I think Aegon Nico'd an Aatrox in the early game, just literally to sell it for 3 gold, which gave him like 10 or 20 gold increment or something. And with that 3 gold, made an extra like, I don't know, 8 gold from that in the long run. And I'm not sure Aegon's placement that game, but it's something that a very top challenger player was willing to at least test. I'm not sure if Doubles will do the same thing here, but it's something to consider, I suppose. You know, these players trying to really break the meta in terms of how they acquire their gold. Rayditz here looking to open fort.
Yeah, if you look at his bench, he does have some very good items for that blender. Does have the 2 BF swords, so he is going to open fort and go for that spatula to try and go into that blender, I presume. Definitely an interesting strategy. We haven't seen it yet on Fight Night. It is something you've talked about, kind of this open fort style going for those blenders, but we have not seen someone actually open fort on Fight Night yet, so this is a first that Rayditz is doing here.
Yeah, fighting Doubles, potentially the 2 blender players here. If there's not anybody else, we'll have to find out later, but yeah, Doubles and Rayditz doing a little playful emoting right there, knowing that they're probably going to be going for each other's compositions there. 2 swords is a very, very good start for it. Rayditz wanting to take the gamble again. It didn't really work out for him too well last game. I think he got a 6th place, but wants to take the risk again here.
Yeah, absolutely. Is going to go for that risk. At this point, I think he's pretty committed going with the open fort, just letting himself econ, buying a couple units. Throws in his Nasus's. They're not going to win any rounds unless someone else decides to open fort.
Yeah, I've seen a scenario where 2 open fort players went against each other. I mean, it can happen sometimes, but I don't think anybody else is open forting. In fact, this game, something, that is a rare strategy. I know people did it a lot more frequently in Dota Auto Chess, the predecessor to these auto battler games, but not a very common strategy here until this patch where players do it for usually blender. You could still transition out of it if your items are a little bit doomed later on. You find a spatula, maybe another spatula, you can go fawn and just try to go another composition. But yeah, usually you'll commit to the blender.
Yeah, LudenKuma does have a tier 2 Talia, so we will see if he can find that Kiana, get that mountain synergy early on. Definitely will help out his early game that he's already doing quite well in, has not lost yet. Of course, it is very early, but nonetheless, has not lost, has a couple tier 2 units here, picking up the Nasus as well. And yeah, finds the Kiana. That's going to be a very powerful early board. The mountain synergy, 2 tier 2 units, definitely going to be looking good. Has the warden synergy as well.
Yeah, it just sells all the woodlands off, and if he wins the round, or even if he doesn't win the round, it's carousel, so it can make up to 30 gold here. Yeah, that's really strong. 2 Wardens, Mountain Synergy. I'd be surprised if LudenKuma loses this, unless there's someone else who is also very strong. Facing Doublezz, and Doublezz I don't think is strong enough to quite beat this.
No, that Talia is very beefy. That's a thick health bar there. This Diana's going to start trying to work on it, but she has not even scratched this shield. And it looks like LudenKuma will very easily take this round. And I think that trend will continue for quite a few rounds here. I expect him to streak a little bit with just the power of his composition, unless another player does find that early mountain as well.
Yeah, ScottTheTeemo also 100 HP here. Might have to check in with Scott to see what he has after this carousel round. But Rayditz, he was looking for the spatula, but there is no spatula here. Some might just look to commit to an IE or the tier, grabs the tier, and it's on a 3-cost unit. I believe, yeah, it's a Kindred. So has the makings of a Hush. Faye also pretty low here, grabbing the belt. Maybe that's for Morello's. I have to check in with Faye to see what her start is, because generally she does win streak early, but this game not being able to, not finding the pieces.
Yeah, you truly hate to see that if you're Rayditz. You go for the open fort, and then there's no spatula, which is pretty awkward, but he does have the ability to kind of start to put in a few units maybe and still slow play towards the next carousel maybe, or the next PvE round at least, try and get a couple more items. Definitely not going to want to full open fort anymore, though. I think you'll probably hemorrhage a little bit too much HP.
Yeah, I mean, next round, assuming that he loses this, he'll be above 50 gold. So you don't really need open fort anymore, considering that's just to make gold. But yeah, players are generally okay. Obviously, it's a little bit unfortunate, but players are generally okay if there's no spat here on the second carousel. But definitely the third one is when you pretty much, I would say, need it by. If that doesn't drop one, it's definitely awkward, and you need to start making some adjustments, rolling through units even without the Blade Master spatula. But yeah, hopefully Rayditz will be able to secure it on the next carousel, if not on the Khroen round, and gets lucky there.
Yeah, we will have to see. LudenKuma, the only one left at 100 HP on that win streak that we talked about with those mountains. H2 finally, or sorry, ScottTheTeemo finally losing down to 96 HP. H2 lost earlier. Still some of the familiar names that have been consistent players sitting near the top. LudenKuma, H2, both up there. Faye, however, down, as we said earlier, a little bit lower than we generally see her, but she's in here with the Druids, has a tier 2 Renekton, tier 2 Ivern, and a lot of stuff on the bench.
There was a lot of options for Faye there, to be honest. She decided to level up and put mountains in, but yeah, there was so many options between taking out the woodlands, not leveling up, putting the mountains in, leveling up, putting 3 woodlands in, but decides to level up and put the mountains in, but it's not going to be enough, I believe, versus Luden.
It is actually.
Oh,
Faye,
wait,
you're watching Luden's perspective, and actually putting in the mountains is enough to take down the win streak of LudenKuma.
True. It was the Diana. Yeah,
it was a confusing perspective because we were on Faye's perspective and then swapped to LudenKuma's perspective in the middle there. But at the same time, Faye able to take that win. The tech of putting in mountains, of course, probably never wrong in the early game for the most part. If you can get mountains in this early on, you probably should. And it does pay off there for Faye, and she is able to take down LudenKuma, stopping his win streak, stopping that gold generation that he had. And H2 is now the only one on the hot streak.
Yeah, H2 with the Electrics, the tier 2 Volley and tier 2 Ornn in there with 3 mages. I mean, we can see why. This is a pretty strong opener here. It has a Nico as well, a double Nico.
2 Nikos for his Vigars that he will be picking up very soon. And we'll have to see what he does with those.
We can only hope. Wait, this is so much. He has lock it already and has 5 more item components and 2 Nikos. Like, this is such a high roll start from H2 here. It could go a lot of different directions here. Maybe Shojin's the brand, Seraph's the brand, could double Nico the brand if he's feeling real frisky. I mean, obviously could wait for those Vigars as well, but we'll see. I'd be curious to see what he does here.
Yeah, and I mean, he already has the setup of mages, so we know the Vygar is coming. It's just a matter of it getting offered, you know? The thing is like you said earlier, it's not a composition you choose, it's a composition that chooses you. And I truly believe that the Vygars have chosen H2 today to be their champion and put them in, give them a face in TFT, some representation that Vygar truly needs.
Mr. Doubles.
And we'll have to see if H2 gives it to it.
Maybe Casanova. We can only hope that someone will be such a meta breaker in such an exciting way as H2 faces off against Scott here. First versus second. Scott has a Vygar of his own. Has 2 Vygars actually, one on the bench. Not taking a page out of H2's book here. Didn't even realize that until this fight was already underway. But H2 says, nope, I'm the only one that's allowed to run that.
H2 says, I am the true champion of Vygar, the true master of dark magic, as Vygar is himself, the tiny master of evil.
Yep, that he is.
Being offered 2 Vygars now. We're seeing them everywhere. They're all over. You're taking over Fight Night.
Vygar, a little evil Yordle taking over, wants to dominate the scene, wants to be in the limelight here tonight. Just for the memes, sells that one. Plays the other Vygar.
With a little smirk too as he does it.
The Rayditz smirk, classic.
Oh my god. Alright, and he will be going against LudenKuma, who is still very strong. Tier 2 Syndra does catch the mountain buff, so it's sitting there eating all the damage from this Nocturne right now, not letting him really do much of anything. LudenKuma does a very, very strong right now, and it's going to do a lot of damage to Rayditz, dropping him down to 45 HP.
Yeah, oh man, that's pretty low to be as Rayditz right now, because you're probably going to lose the next round as well, and you're going to pray that there is a spatula on the carousel, and if not, it's looking like a top 8.
Looking like a go next for Rayditz if you can't find that right now.
Okay, finds a Kha'Zix. That's good.
Big pickup for sure. Definitely trying to round out his comp more so overall, but definitely needs a couple tier 2 units here. Only on the tier 1s and doesn't even have a Sivir yet. So definitely looking very rough for Rayditz right now.
Yeah, a little rough indeed. I mean, what's the best case scenario here? A Nocturne with a spat rolls down to, or goes to 7, rolls down, finds tier 2 Nocturne, finds a few Sivirs. It's going to be some specific scenarios that have to happen. But Doublezzzz, on the other hand, a bit healthier, has the Blade Master spat already, and is looking to be relatively strong in the near future. Rayditz, though, gonna take another big hit here versus Scott. It's not looking good. Already 33 HP on the very low end, but it's possible.
Yeah, this would definitely be about as big of a miracle needed for Rayditz to come back as in the last game, where he found the exact items that he needed to come back into the game. And even then, he only was able to make it to 6th. Is Doublezzzz gonna deny it?
He
thought about it.
Light grief Rayditz right there. And honestly, if Doublezzzz had another spare bow, I would 100% do that, because it means that Rayditz will probably die very soon, meaning that you can roll all of your units as no one will contest you, and you can maybe even look to go 6 Blade Masters, but probably not, and just say you don't need the Aatrox at that point, just make Kiana or Kha'Zix a Blade Master. Probably Kiana in that scenario, but yeah, if Doublezz had a bow, 100% that'd be the correct play.
Yeah, I don't even think it would be a bad play regardless, or in general in the format of Fight Night, because the spatula not going to Rayditz definitely means that Rayditz would die. He would lose not getting the spatula. His composition would not really have anything going for it. Even with the spatula, he may still go down very soon here. He is rolling down a lot of gold. We'll see what he can find. Misses a Yasuo there. Maybe it wasn't as important as some of the other things that he needed to find, like this Vygar sitting on the bench, but might not be able to pick that one up here. Doesn't quite fit into the composition.
Okay, yeah, he made the swaps necessary. I was a little concerned. He's spending a lot of time rolling, but yeah, a lack of items here. Still has the items in the Kindred. Okay, there we go. Is doing something with those. Another tier on the Sivir as well. Should put the sword on the Nocturne. Should sell also these units here on his bench for Econ. but is concerned with
Faye
what.
seeing if he can win this Braum with the Thornmail
Braum.
holding on for a very long time and being able to take the win over Rayditz. That
Yeah.
Braum
Why
is
did he
going to
get
be a
bounced,
nightmare
though?
for the Blender. Stalling for such a long time.
They're stalling for
Why did
definitely
my
an extremely
barrel
long
go
time.
off?
I mean, Nocturne just
What
perma hitting that
happened?
Braum means that he's going to be doing damage to himself the entire time. Oh man, this turn is important.
Mr.
Finds an Amumu, but it's not really what you need in this comp. Okay, finds
Sivir,
the
that's
Sivir.
important, but
It's
more so is the Nocturne.
yeah, 2 more Nocturnes. Finding 0 of them though.
I like you, bro.
Another Yasuo. Okay, there's
There's
one, and there's
one.
the Kha'Zix. Finds the Chichu Kha'Zix. Okay, okay.
Too? Can I have one?
That's not
What
bad.
am I missing?
Is missing the Kiana actually. Maybe should have looked to keep
You're missing a
to
Kiana,
have kept
missing a
one of
Kiana.
those Dianas even to fit in the 3 assassin buff here.
Dude,
Maybe a
why does
slight
everyone get
misplay from
outplayed by
Rayditz.
fucking Nocturne jump
Will
sets?
he
This is
lose
actually
because of
crazy.
that? I mean,
Oh
Kha'Zix
my
2 is a beast.
God.
Yeah, doesn't lose. Takes down
Yeah.
Aries. Aries
Sivir really, though, with all the mana items, just able to get off the Ricochet so quickly and got a lot of hush procs there, which I think helped a lot in the domination of that round. So Rayditz definitely online, but we'll see for how long that he can keep this up. H2, meanwhile, keeping this win streak going with these electrics, these mages, these mountains, all of these strong units that he's got. And sitting on 95 HP with a 9 win streak going into this Wolves round. And guess what unit he got on the board? That's right, ladies and gentlemen, the Vigar, the best unit in set 2, according to H2. So
I really didn't think that. I didn't think he'd bring it back. I thought it was just it was a meme, but no. H2 is holding strong to his Vigar. There's a double Nico on the bench. I mean, logically, one might think that people would spend those double Nikos on a legendary unit, but H2 must be at least thinking of, hey, what if I got another 2-3 Vigar this game? That could be pretty fun.
yeah, I mean, he's got 2 Nikos on the bench. So we'll have to see if he
Who
decides
knows?
to use them.
Yeah, didn't get any items there, but that's just because he already has so many. Does he decide to go level 8 at round 4-3? Has a decent amount of gold to do so. Doublezzzz and Rayditz right now are probably going to be the players to watch, seeing as they're both rolling down for their same units. We see Doublezzzz, okay, has 2 Sivers. Nicoing the Sivir. Okay, I respect that. I respect that as a play. Is maybe locking for this A-Trunks? Probably a
he's
good
got
idea.
to find any power that he can to hang on a little bit longer. The Blender running into this Braum. This was a character we talked about earlier, but this time around, this Nocturne is tier 2, and it is ripping through the back line. The Braum, not something it has to worry about yet, and the rest of the composition is already dead. Braum not saving anyone. Standing behind Braum, maybe not the best idea in this kind of scenario with the Nocturne at your back as well. And Doublezzz's going to win that round very handedly. These upgrades definitely quite helpful. And we'll see if Rayditz also able to win his round. So these blenders are coming online. They are winning rounds, and we'll see if they can hang on for a lot longer. H2 finally lost a round as well, though.
Yeah, he did, unfortunately, but was saving up the money to level 8, so that isn't that surprising. Luden, though, spending money on 4-2, generally an awkward interval, seeing as you have to spend a bit more money for extra gold as opposed to next turn, but definitely wants that Yorick in. Doesn't have summoners, though, so kind of curious decision there. Still has 30 golds. It's not like he's hurting for gold. Faces H2 here.
Yeah, this will be interesting to see as LudenKuma has not lost in a while on that 6-win streak. The tier 1 Vigar not really able to do much yet, but overall this composition with all these electric is dealing quite a bit of damage to these summoners, clearing away a lot of the spawns, but still they keep on coming. And we're going to see if this can hold on any longer. H2 will probably lose here. The volley keeps getting knocked away, hanging out in the bounce house that we saw Nocturne in earlier. Looking like he's having a blast, but definitely still losing the round for H2. And LudenKuma going to keep his win streak.
That he does. Rated stabilizing on a 3-win streak. Doublezzzz, I believe, lost last round. Not sure who he was facing there. Shadows. This is I mean,
Cosplay Lux.
yeah, so sneaky cosplay looks quite the appealing one, but yeah, decides to keep the 3 assassins, and I think that is necessary. In fact, ooh, unfortunately, I thought Rayditz had Infinity Edge on his Nocturne, but doesn't. Just has the Deathblade, and probably just gonna be going for the double hush on the Sivir, off this next carousel. Zephyr's the Kha'Zix there from ScottTheTeemo. Is that enough?
Yeah, somewhat Rayditz does just want to hang on, stay alive as long as he can. That Amumu ult barely missing the Nocturne, and the Blender is going to complete the puree, finishing him off there.
Double's falling again.
But I'm lower health than you. Where's my
The
cause?
Double's in last place right now. I mean, this is the point where these Blender compositions really want to power spike, but Doubles is missing a couple of synergies there. Doesn't have the... What is he missing? One of them. Oh, Desert. Missing a Kha'Zix, I think, actually, there, yeah. 2 spatulas here, but both the Blender players already have.
Amumu, too. Might be able to see someone pick that up. It's a unit that we've talked about being incredibly strong. It's just a matter of people value it, and it's going through quite a few people, obviously valuing the items more highly right now. ScottTheTeemo is going to be able to pick up that Amumu for himself.
As a 3rd pick, interesting. Usually you would see players take that Mumu. It's a rod as well. You know, making Morellos on the Mumu, hitting basically the whole board is going to be very, very strong. I'm curious to see Double's items after this, because I think he needed a sword. Yeah, he did need a sword, and I don't think there was any swords on that carousel, unfortunately. That might be the difference between winning and losing this lobby, actually. Unfortunate RNG there. Plevins with the 500 cheer. This cheese stinks to support our boy Sphinx. Well,
right. Supporting Sphinx. Sphinx still hanging in there in the middle of the pack. Make sure you guys are cheering or tipping for your favorites here today. All of that money going to be going into the prize pool, into the bounty for these players. And we're going to have to see if Doubles can hang on here with such little HP remaining, but his Nocturne still alive, getting knocked up by the Unstoppable Force, hitting into this Mountain Shield. The Bounce House trying to go off. Leah stays alive, might be able to get one more CC, but the Nocturne trying to stay alive. The double cast of the Vygar from H2, the patented Vygar. Blender Slayer H2, the Vygar player. Gonna take down Doubles and deal some more damage to him here.
Oh man, what a night, what a night. H2 really showing up here. I mean, been consistent in placements. H2 first place in points right now. The Vygar player, he has 5 right now.
You mean he has 7? I see 2 Nikos on the side.
Away with those 2 Nikos. I thought this was Casa. I thought this was a meme. It's actually real.
It's never a meme. It's always the truth. Just how Blitzcrank was the truth before, now it is Vygar. We will see if he can continue to deal all this damage with the double cast coming out. But right now, the Kiana on the back line dealing a lot of damage. The Redemption keeping the Vygar alive, trying to pump out as much as he can, but keeps hitting into this Braum. Very poor target selection from the Vygar. Can this Kiana stay alive long enough to win this round? It doesn't look like it. H2 will lose a little bit of HP.
That Braum just didn't take damage there.
No, not at all. He just needs that tier 3 Vygar, though, because then the Braum will be gone instantly.
Yeah. Oh, man. Doubles, I think, barely won that last round. He's, nervously laughing there, being like, oh, man, I needed to win that to get to Raptors to maybe secure the items that I need. And 4 items on the bench here. Doubles needs a cloak, a sword, and various other things. Doesn't really matter. Yeah, none of these other things that he has on the bench here. He has like an extra maybe he could Infinity Edge a Kha'Zix. Only has a Kha'Zix 1 though if he gets like 2 swords or something. But important round here for Doubles. Let's see. Pray for a sword.
That's a bow, that's a cloak, that's a bow. Drop bows on him, I guess. He's got a couple bows. We'll see what he can make of it. Just gonna have to make it work.
Hands off the keyboard there for Doubles. I mean, what does he do here? Okay, he makes a hush on the Sivir. Makes Thieves' Gloves on the Kiana. Probably rapid fire cannons, the
Wait,
Sivir,
see my Nocturne?
yeah,
Do I pull a delicious
and
milk?
then puts Titanic Hydra. Oh, wait,
Those key units.
is that the play?
Is that
And
good?
delicious milk.
No.
Like that affects because
But I mean,
that makes like the cleave like miss, right?
Yep.
Yeah, that's not good.
Doubles. You're a wild one, bud.
Doubles, you good? I just see him missing. I just see the Nocturne out there missing his cleave.
Oh,
And Doubles is gonna
Boom.
fall the Aries. Seppuku by rapid fire cannon.
did he? I mean, okay. That's we're just we're moving on now. Doubles unfortunately in 8th place here. I'm not convinced that that was the play there, but Doubles lived and died by that decision right there.
He went out on his own accord, you know. He's not letting anyone
Yo.
beat him.
I
He'll
roll-
beat
can I-
himself, thank you.
Oh man, Rayditz though on the other side, the duality of the blender. One blender will succeed, one blender will fail, and Rayditz looks to be the succeeding one here. Doesn't have any infinity edges, unfortunately, for his Nocturne, but has a double Hush Sivir, has a Master Yi 2 and a Jana 2 here, so relatively strong in this
Dude,
lobby.
you're
This
telling me
blender's
I'm
got some nice, some nice bananas, some nice strawberries, some nice stuff put into it. Doubles put a stapler in his blender, and that's what we ended up with. But Rayditz is able to still take this win here, able to stay alive. 8-win streak right now, and he's working to stay in it. And now we've got all of Doubles
Ooh.
units back in the pool for Rayditz to try and find, as Sphinx and Aries also drop in 7th and 6th respectively. Faye hanging on at 1 HP, and Scott dropping very low as well.
All right, this game's getting intense right now. Aries, the winner of the last game, unfortunately dropping in 7th here. Scott looking to swap some items here. What's this gonna? Has a Mumu too. I mean, that's pretty freaking strong. Has a Runans, which isn't really gonna get much value. Has 2 Janas in play. Another Locket on the Yorick. I mean, just trying to get into that top 4. I mean, Scott, his placements so far, I believe, have been 7th and 8th, so he's already doing a bit better than that, but definitely wants to get into the top 4, if not more. Facing Faye, though, who's at 1 HP with the Singed 2.
Yeah, we're going to have to see with this Amumu going off. Going to hit almost every single unit. The follow-up from Nami dealing a lot as well, in a massive Taric ultimate, trying to hang on a bit longer. We just have to watch Faye's Singe right now as it does damage to everybody. All these Inferno
Board's
tiles
on
going
fire.
down. So much damage. The entire board looking like a massive wildfire right now.
Oh, unfortunate for Scott. 5th place, a little bit better in terms of placements there, but yeah, not really what he wanted to see. I think we saw the little end of that damage chart by Faye there, and that was 11,000 damage from Singe there, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, it was alive the whole time, running through all the units. I know it's a unit you've talked about liking quite a bit, and I can definitely see why. It looks incredibly powerful.
I generally do not run 6 Inferno Singed. I'm okay with running 3 if I get an Inferno spat. But yeah, that's a 6 Inferno, which is why we saw the whole board on fire there during that last fight. What does Faye choose to round out her composition with? Not any synergies that she's close to, but maybe is going to look to just throw that Nami in there or look for poison, but she does sell the Mundo. Already has 2 oceans, so isn't really benefiting much from just the raw power of Nami's ultimate herself, which is pretty good.
Yeah, Force of Nature, a pretty good pickup, being able to just put in that Nami. I mean, even if it just gets off 1 tidal wave, that's a pretty big deal. Yeah. Singe going to be running through against this blender, trying to get as much damage, the entire board on fire once again. The knockup coming through, hitting the Sivir, and that might be enough for Faye to win this one here. Deal a good amount of damage to Rayditz and hang on at 1 HP. Just dangling by a thread here. Faye being consistent as ever, staying in the top 4.
That's you. Ooh, okay. What does Faye do here? Sells the Nami for the Mumu too? I would, or yeah, I'd do it. I would do it.
I think so. No, absolutely. I mean, I think just the Amumu 2 being able to possibly get off more of those Curse of the Sad Mummies, get that crowd control out. I mean, that's definitely going to be worth, but at this point, you just throw Maokai, maybe the Ivern, instead.
Oh, man,
see what you can get.
Yeah, being run there, but it was for the sacrifice for the Mumu too, which I think is worth it here. Faye's Mumu will cast first. Yeah, it did. Singe running around.
It's going to get another cast too here, it looks like, and that's a big deal as the Singe keeps running around. We'll see if it gets one more cast out of the GA. It does not, so that's not going to be enough, and Faye is going to go down. Did she hang on long enough, though? No. Fourth place, H2 drops down to 3 HP. Rayditz at 8. They're both so low again.
Has a nail biter of a 4th through 2nd position there with LudenKuma in the lead by a large margin. Has that Azir and Brand with really good items, and Z2 with Thieves' Gloves. Maybe is even looking for a Singe 2. I would replace the Brand with the Singe 2. He's able to find that. Definitely. But, I mean, has a Nocturne 2 on the bench? I guess denying Nocturnes from Rayditz. I mean, I don't mind that play. I think it's pretty good if you don't want to face a Nocturne 3.
Yeah, if LudenKuma does not think he can deal with that, if he thinks that's the win condition, that's the out for Rayditz here against his comp, then I absolutely agree with that play, keeping those there. He may need to sell it for that Nami, and we're seeing him consider that right now.
I mean, looking at Rayditz here, Rayditz is pretty far away from the Nocturne 3, I believe. Yeah, he only has 4 Nocturnes, so yeah, does choose to sell it.
Very smart play from LudenKuma there. He waited and watched Rayditz roll down all of his gold, and as soon as he was done, he sold the Nocturne and bought the Nami. Very smart play, very heads-up play. What you expect out of players of this caliber that we bring here on Fight Night. And LudenKuma looking in a good position, going against H2. We do see a Lux in the back, going to be popping off here quite a bit, dealing a lot of damage, and H2 is going to win this round very handedly. That Lux kind of coming out of nowhere. Tier 2 Lux going to be dealing a lot of damage to LudenKuma. 27 damage dealt that round by H2.
Yeah, I'm trying to watch that, this board here with the Veigar. Unfortunately, not a Veigar 3, but does run the Veigar, giving the synergies to the Lux here. And Lux is the true carry, has a Mage Cap, and a Shojin's, and a Rune's, I believe. So her cast will be coming out very, very frequently in these fights here.
I don't know, not my carry. Veigar is my carry still, but the Lux here definitely looking good. The sneaky cosplay Lux coming out here, dealing quite a bit of damage, if I say so myself. And we're going to see it proc once again here. We're going to start seeing these lasers come out. That one hits onto the Kazakhs, but we do see the blender has gotten onto the Lux, and that might be it for H2. And I think it's going to be Rayditz is going to take him down, and that might secure victory for LudenKuma if LudenKuma can deal with the blender. But H2 going down in 3rd, staying very consistent in these finishes here today.
Definitely very, very important. I mean, LudenKuma, though, was right under H2, I believe 2 points away. So these scores after this game are going to be extremely close. That's an electric Lux. Does Luden transition into that, selling that Mumu? For 3 electrics? Yeah, he does. Luden, this is very strong. If the Zed's able to get some nice crits off, this would be very, very strong.
Does he ever lock for this extra Lux? But he has to wait to try and see if he gets a Nami or Singe, though, right? So probably wouldn't lock.
Yeah,
That's unfortunate,
I don't think so.
because you want the tier 2, but I think locking might put him in a position where he can't find an upgrade next turn when maybe he could.
Yeah, there's a couple of things. Yeah, I don't think going for Lux 2 is going to be the play, but also has a rapid fire cannon on the Mumu, making it harder for him to get better ults off. I mean, similar to the Doublezzzz Nocturne earlier, but LudenKuma falling that round, going down to 12 HP.
Yeah, this is incredibly close. Rayditz at 8.
The Singe.
A Singe to be picked up, yeah.
Wait, this is so good actually for LudenKuma. I think he has a spat left, and he's one away from an Inferno, so we can both make the Singe too, and put an Inferno spat on somebody else. Yeah, you can. This is so good actually. This might be the difference between him winning and losing the game. He puts this Inferno Spat on, I don't know, Lux, Nami, or Malphite. Has 3 Infernos. Definitely wants to roll down here as well for the Nami. Let's see what he does. Yeah, he's scouting. Should roll 2 times. Focuses on positioning more though. Wonders what position. That's a GA on the Zed. That's really, really good. And Shojin's not bad as well. Didn't get a chance to roll there, but
Yeah, very good pickups by the Thieves Glove on the Zed here. This may be it for Rayditz. We'll have to see. That's that tier 2 Singe starting to walk through.
Yeah.
The Electrics proccing on the back line, trying to get towards that Sivir. As we
Ooh,
see the
oh,
Blender in the
dude.
middle with the Nocturne trying to stay alive, but it's slowly dying off. The Singe staying up, but we do have the Kazakhs not enough, and that
Rayditz
will do
falls.
it. Rayditz will die as the Zed with that GA that he got
Yeah.
able to stay alive just long enough and making the difference, sealing the deal. And LudenKuma gonna pick up a first place finish. He's been consistent all day. That's gonna put him in that first place position going into the final game.
Yeah, very, very narrowly, but that was such a specific outcome of events that led to that, and the fight was still so, so close. I mean, you can't help but feel a little bit, I mean, bad for Rayditz there, because, so close to taking a victory after some unoptimal placements for tonight, but definitely can't take anything away from Luden there. He is in first place by 1 point, remaining to be a very, very strong force here tonight. Yeah, 1 point separating from Luden in H2. Faye, though, in third, the defending champion, with 26 points. It is still anyone's game, theoretically, between these top 4-5 players. But going into this final game, Casa, this is going to be intense.
Yeah, this has been crazy so far. Again, this lobby is just so stacked. It's really still almost anyone's game at this point. I mean, even Faye, Sphinx, and Rayditz with a very high placement and some low placements from the people above them have a shot to still bring this home. But really, this last game is going to be the story of LudenKuma versus H2. Consistent players, both of them. H2 bringing a Vigar into every single composition he's had so far. Been a pleasure to watch, and we'll see if he continues that streak in the final game once we get into that.
Yeah, very,
Who
very
do
shortly.
you think
Right
is
now,
going
in
to take
fact.
this one home?
Oh man, I don't know. This is intense. Luden, he's playing out of his mind, but so is H2, even though, I mean, I say even though, but because of the Vigar, I mean, who knows? Maybe the Vigar is the reason why that he's getting these top 4s, top 3s. Okay, who's gonna win this game? I'm gonna say it's Rayditz. I'm gonna say it's Rayditz, actually. He hasn't
You
won a
say-
game yet,
Okay.
but I think Rayditz is gonna win the game. Hopefully I'm right. And Rayditz is a very, very strong player, and I think he still is going to he's gonna show some good play here. Ocean map this game. I believe we've had, yeah, this is the 4th one. We've had all 4 elements here tonight, right?
Yeah.
so.
Actually, yes. This is the last one that we needed. So we got a
Oh my
4
God, I'm
Drake
high
Knight. These
rolling.
always lead to some crazy finishes when we see every single elemental board. And this is the last one we needed. So we're gonna see how it turns out. This one, 2 tiers already for H2.
Yeah, not bad, not bad. I guess as a further prediction, I think Rayditz will win the game, but I'm going to say I think H2 will be victorious in terms of tonight, all 4 games placements. I think he's very, very close. He's been playing the Vigar, but I think this game H2 will pull it out. I mean, obviously, there still could be some upsets if LudenKuma and H2 both bottom 4, and say like Faye or Sphinx perhaps could maybe secure a victory and win. There's a lot of options, but I'm gonna go with Rayditz winning the game and H2 being victorious overall for tonight.
Yeah, I think that is a completely fair prediction, and I would not be surprised to see such an outcome. And we're gonna have to wait and find out as this game goes on. Aries has the rod, the needlessly large rod, and he also has some gloves on the bench that was sitting on a Skarner.
Yeah,
Got
a lot of
some
as well.
gloves and a Giant's belt for Scott.
Yeah, maybe it's on a Volibear. It's starting to keep the Volibear. I mean, early electrics are super good. I think who was it? It was H2 or Luden. One of these games had the tier 2 Volibear, which secured like a huge early game win streak. It was somebody,
I
but yeah,
believe it was
Volibear very good.
H2 had that. H2 had that
H2, yeah.
electric composition in the
Okay.
early game that let him win quite a few rounds.
Ooh, Luden here with the Nocturne on the bench and has some blender items, but we'll see.
guess I
Rated
did not
tier
play
2 Talia. Only 2 items, but 20 gold. This is quite a lot of gold here from Rayditz, starting off in round 2-1. And his composition isn't necessarily like weak either, having a tier 2 Talia and an Assus in there.
No, not at all. And there's a T2 Zyra coming out for Sphinx with the Morellos already. Definitely something that in previous fight nights was an incredibly strong early game tool. We saw it being played almost every single game. Fallen a little bit out of favor this week. We still see it quite a bit, but definitely a lot less than we previously did.
Definitely is hard to get nerfed a little bit, but is still strong. Players still favor her for an early to mid game carry. And yeah, we see LudenKuma has a tier 1 Zyra, but still with the Morellos. Not enough to beat Doublezz here. Doublezz looking to redeem himself for last game, having that tier 2 Vlad and Kog'Maw right now. They don't have any synergies with each other, but still are just strong early game units being those tier 2.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the name of the game. Early on is always just getting as many upgraded units as you can find and having 2 of them early.
Speaking of upgrade
Like
units,
Nasus and Zyra, definitely very strong to have early game.
2 of the stronger ones for sure, and Azir as well. Maybe Luden will look to go in early 3 summoners, which will be very strong for both Zyra and Azir. I think both are very solid units, and having those wardens, or yeah, having the Thresh and Nasus, I believe, looking to be a strong start for Luden here, even though he lost the first round. Facing Faye, who has Nocturne, Yasuo, Rek'Sai, and a spat on the bench, Cass. What are we seeing here?
Definitely looks like an Ocean Mages comp coming out of Faye. That's definitely Blender. We're gonna see Blender coming
Mage.
out. Ocean Mage.
No one expected.
You know, if we've seen Faye do some crazy things in our time, I think back on a simpler time where we had Sorcerer Poppies and other crazy things coming out in Fight Night from Faye. But yeah, I do expect we will see a Blender with that start that she has there.
Yeah, I believe one of the fight nights, maybe a couple fight nights ago, Faye had played like every single game Blender and dropped down very low early, but still was able to make it into the top 4, top 3 almost every single game. So she's definitely practiced with that composition. We see the whole entire lobby level up to level 4 right now. No one had chose to purchase XP beforehand. So everyone on the sort of same length here. We see ScottTheTeemo though, Infinity Edge and a bow. Looking for that spat probably, but is also pretty healthy. Is not open forwarding, so if there is a spat in the first carousel, or the second carousel coming up soon, might not be able to get that.
Yeah, Faye will very likely grab it as well, as we saw her items previously, looking like she will be going for that Blender composition. So we'll have to see. She is lower HP than Scott.
Little bit. She did already have the spat though, I believe. So just looking for the bow or for
that she had.
Yeah,
okay,
she had the spat. She had the spat.
No, so maybe he can still hold on and get the spat, even having higher HP. We'll have to see. Renekton might be able to beat him. Nope, not gonna proc there. Nasus will instead.
Yeah, Scott last pick, and there is a spat, but definitely not getting that one. Maybe should have opened for it in hindsight. Faye here, what is she going to secure? Does secure the bow.
Yeah, just what she needed to get that. I'm rolling.
H2 taking.
Yeah, did you happen to see what unit that spatula was on, though?
It was on a Vigar.
Let's see. Very interesting. H2 picking up a Vigar. I wonder what will happen with that. Definitely.
Wait, H2 already have a Vigar in play? Wait, he literally had a Vigar already in play, too.
With 3 mages.
Oh my god. I love H2. H2's great. Bring back H2 every time. Look at this guy playing Vigar already in, not even 2-2, not even giving a synergy. It was just in.
It's just in. It does nothing right now. It's just in. It's
It's just my
yep.
favorite champion.
Oh boy! All right, so we're gonna see.
There's there's 2 Vigars in play right now. What? What?
That's how I feel all the time. Like, even if it's Zyra 2, like,
Did he actually slam Blade Master?
What is he doing? What is he doing? He makes the Blade Master Vigar, puts it in. Is he
Yeah.
going for? He's okay. So he's
Let's
going
go.
Blender, but he just has the Vigar in while he looks for the Nocturne. There's a Nocturne available for him to buy right now. Maybe he's not.
I don't. I.
oh, I'm losing.
The BM Vega.
Yo,
What
if
is
he
happening?
wins, if he wins with this, I swear to God.
H2
Yo.
is the mad scientist of Teamfight Tactics. He is the meta breaker, the blender slayer, even taking the spatula to deny the blenders. You must become what you want to destroy, H2, and you have done so right now. He's not. Yeah, he's not even going blender, but he's just. I can't. I don't know how to define this, Cass. This is insane.
This is a spark of pure genius. That's
Maybe.
all I can.
I mean, okay, if H2 gets Vigar 3 and has like Blade Master Seraph's like Shojins or something and just one-shots everything and is constantly auto-attacking, ulting to get extra mana back with the Shojins and the Seraphs, I mean, I could see a world where it could work.
No, Faye ruined my
Is it going to?
This is
I don't
like
know.
our Christmas, and you know, Khroen, even though he's not really like against it, he's the Grinch here. But his brain is growing 2 sizes this day by watching this Vigar
That's
pop
ridiculous.
off
I need to
and
drink water,
probably
it's too much.
potentially lose to this Nasus here. We'll see. Actually, getting those procs, this Ivor installing for a good amount of time. The Nasus though constantly getting that HP back. We'll see if the Vigar can get there, and there we go. Primordial Burst gonna take him down.
Oh,
So-
man.
Oh,
2
offered
Nocturnes.
2 Nocturnes.
But I'm
What?
He's gonna ignore him.
He's not, yeah, he's not going for it.
People's champ. The
He's-
people's champ.
He's not doing it.
H2 playing the Vigar hyper carry with the Blade Master.
Is Desert good with Vega or Blade Master?
I love it.
Oh,
There's a chat comment. Gotta find you a man that looks at you the way H2 looks at Vigar. And H2. Oh
true.
man.
That is the truth.
By the way,
That is the truth, in fact. What is happening? Faye has found the bow, has a cloak, has a rod, has the nocturne. Would have liked to roll 2 nocturnes there as H2 had, but unfortunately did not. I don't. What's gonna happen here? I'm honestly, I'm so curious to see just how H2 plays this game. I'm gonna be a little biased here. I want to watch H2 for as long as we can. Obviously, check in with other players, maybe like Sphinx here because he's 100 HP. See what he's able to be doing. Hey, has a lot of items here actually. Wow, has 8 total items here. Has a lot of
Yeah,
swords, a lot of bows. These are some blender items, but
My
Ernie is
man said, "Give me one of everything. I want it all."
I guess so. Has Infernos in too. H2 though. Another spat. H2 could have had a fawn right now.
Oh my god. What is he gonna do? He gets the Zephyr, puts it onto the Malphite as 2
I know.
Malphites in.
Wait, 2 Malphites of Vigar and
Punish.
I could have never have guessed someone would play this composition at round 3-1.
Yeah, we need
Like
Spawn
I never in a
Blade
million
Master,
years would have guessed this
man.
would be what
That's
a
I'm
player would
trying to
play.
do.
But here we
I
are.
slammed the Zephyr, so
And
he
H2's doing it. The absolute madman.
He is going to lose
Takes
this
the
round, but it looks
Vanguard
like he's
3
scaling
right
right now,
now.
trying to find what he needs to be doing with his comp.
Yeah.
Considering selling one of those units there, but it looks like he may not.
Just hold on to them,
actually.
yeah.
Just hold on, yeah. Going on, he does find another Syndra, trying to look for these mages, I presume.
Is rolling. Finds the Vlad.
There's some mages. There's some
Yeah?
oceans, some mages.
Wants to put mages in for the double
Okay.
Malphites there. Still on 30 gold. I mean, didn't find another Vigar though, which is that's the true tragedy here. Really unfortunate.
the blender.
Needs to find that in order to be strong right now. Facing Aries here on a win streak. 50 gold, level 6.
Yeah, Aries definitely in a good spot. Looks like he'll probably win this round too, continuing his win streak, unless Vigar can get a bunch of double casts in a row, maybe find a couple kills. Nope, no double cast there.
Syndra, can she do it? Maybe
very
there's a
close.
world.
Actually gonna be perfect loss streak.
Dang, that
It's
the shield
close.
came out from the Ivern and was able to keep him alive. That might have made the difference there. If that was not able to cast and he went down, the Cinder might have been able to take down the Zyra, but does find the Vladimir, so that will be a tier 2 of Vladimir. That definitely helps. Not necessarily like the biggest upgrade, but is definitely an upgrade.
There's a Blademaster Vigar with no Blademaster synergy anymore, seeing as the server has been sold in the favor of 4 Oceans here.
Yeah.
Okay, he gets Yeed later, 100%. That's going to be Shadows and Blademasters, but is going to look to put Blademaster in the meantime, though.
Yeah, that will remain to be seen. But yeah, is Vigar doing some work right now? Looking
a little bit,
good.
not enough. Yeah, unfortunately, but I mean, there was a close fight. LudenKuma has more gold than H2. H2 rolled down a bit, but it's still losing, which is a little unfortunate. Faye in last place currently. She is going to be one of these blender players. Scott, I believe, as well, and there is a spat here. Scott is not moving on the carousel here. Has DC'd, I suppose.
No.
Unfortunately, that's
really unlucky
not what
because
you want to
all
see.
he needed was a spat, and he's back now, but the spat is gone.
Oh no.
It's a real tragedy for Scott here.
Definitely not. We want to see it. Hopefully, he's able to get the spat on the wolves or the next carousel. But yeah, that was the time for the power spike. A lot of players here are actually relatively healthy. We see the majority of the lobby 70 HP or higher, which is pretty good. A lot of the losses players have been taking are not going to have been that damaging. Luden here going to level 7, rolling down a little bit, as players will generally do on round 3-5. We'll see exactly what he chooses to put in here. Finds the Kindred for the Infernos. Yeah, Zyra
pick those up,
3.
I don't think he's going Zyra 3. I mean, he could. He's just very low on gold.
Yeah, probably not.
Back up.
I mean, might as well sell the Nico and buy the Zyras. I mean, there's no point in not doing that in case you happen to get a really lucky roll and find a bunch more Zyras. Sold the Vigar instead, actually, which is fine.
Kind of a poor spot for that Amumu ult to go off, but it might still end up being enough if they can take down this Diana in the back line, the Voidlings coming out. But overall, Zyra pumping out a ton of damage, staying alive due to these lockets.
Yeah.
So it's definitely going to be that round going in favor of, I believe it was Sphinx.
Ooh, Master Yi, that's what H2 would have wanted to see right now, but Luden finding it. Probably going to skip over it, though. Maybe takes the brand? Thinking about it. Hovering over it. Yeah, decides to put that in over the Diana. Probably going to end up giving the Shojins over to the Azir. Yeah, he does just that. Azir will slap right now.
Yeah, definitely going to be a big power spike for that Azir, especially at this point in the game. Going to be dealing quite a bit of damage. We'll see if LudenKuma can start win streaking off of these pickups here. It's definitely going to slap, as you said, with this Shojin. And we're going to see trying to get all that damage out.
Yeah, a lot of damage there. Kills the Annie before the Tibbers came out.
That's huge into this Summoner's Comp of Aries. Definitely going to win very handedly, and Aries is going to lose quite a bit of HP, dropping him down into the 5th place position right now. Rayditz on a win streak, actually, in this game. Your pick to win this game specifically.
Yeah. I see Sphinx here with some good items. A lot of HP. Decided to not level 7 aggressively, but is making money instead, and is still first place because of it. Be curious to check in with a few other players right now, like Rayditz, Doublezzzz, and Scott. Yeah, Rayditz double locket, has the Amumu, which is probably a big reason why he's on maintaining his win streak right now. Doublezzzz has a fawn, has the Mumu as well. A lot of Mumus out here on level 7.
Yeah, where my sad boys at? We got all these Amumus coming in here, hanging out, getting those curses out, dealing a lot of damage and a lot of crowd control for their teams, being able to help carry some of these mid-game win streaks. But looking at LudenKuma versus H2, the top 2 point scorers right now, H2 down to 50 HP. Looking a little bit rough. See if that Vygar can pay off. While LudenKuma looking to be in a pretty strong position overall.
Oh no. That's a lot of Vygars there, Cass. That's 5 right there.
4 Infernos?
Selling the
That's-
Malphites off, deciding not to play the mountains, but instead has 5 oceans? Wait, 6 ocean Vygar with Seraphs? H2.
He takes out the blender part of the blender. Double cast to kill the Kiana.
He's just popping off. Nothing can kill it. Why is it not dead?
It's amazing. It's a miracle. It's brilliant. H2 coming back. He's going to be trying to get back into this one, getting the 6 oceans soon, trying to find that dream. And then, as you said, just has to find that Yi. He'll get the Shadow and the Blade Master buffs if he finds it.
I don't know what to say anymore. H2 is impressive. That is what I will say. He's making something that's unorthodox in this meta and making it work. I mean, it just is what it is. I almost want to see a world where he makes that other spatula into an Inferno item to put it on the Vygar, and then gets Vygar 3, and it'll deal a lot of damage, essentially creating a little like death hex if anything walks into that because of the damage the Inferno will do. That's maybe a little too big brain, maybe not the play. H2 mad scientist here, so I'll defer to him for what and how to break the meta here.
As I said, 2 sizes this day, the brain expanding. Now you're thinking on another plane of existence here. As H2 winning another round, taking it over Aries as the Vygar carry works again.
My brain is expanding too much. I almost can't handle it. There's 2 more Vygars there in that roll. He's suddenly 2 away from the Vygar 3. I think my brain has already exploded during sometime last game or sometime this game when the Blade Master item was created, and I'm trying to piece it back together right now in order to cast this game. H2 1 point off of first place. If he wins this, I think that will be probably the most impressive performance I will have seen from anybody at a fight night.
It might be the most impressive competitive TFT performance I've ever seen if he pulls this off. Because it seems as though he is just styling on the competition, and this is a lobby full of incredible players.
Yeah, he says, yo, you know about that thing called a meta? Yeah, screw that. I'm going to take your meta and destroy it with my Vygar. Blenders, I slay those. Vygars, I pick those, and maybe it will take him to the victory here. We can only hope.
Well, there's another spatula available. Maybe he can go
two.
for... Yeah, there's 2 spatulas available.
Scott, take
It looks like
one.
both of
That's
them
what he
wanted
did.
to... Yeah, Faye might grab the other.
Scott's gonna win.
She's thinking about it.
Maybe just
She
wanted
doesn't-
the Z.
He's just going to get it. That's,
Yeah,
that's,
wow.
on. That's huge for his
big.
composition.
It is huge. I mean, getting Force of Nature means he'll be able to go to level 8 soon, probably after Raptors, as well as have 9 units and sticking in a lot of different synergies. Maybe can fit in 6 Ocean or 3 Shadows, like 6 Ocean, 2 Mystics, maybe 4 Wardens. Is going to be able to do something here. He's rolling down right now, wants to find that Vygar, I guess, is not worried about going to level 8. Just needs 2 more. Finds an Amumu though. Definitely wants to put that in.
Maybe? Yeah.
Yeah, at least buys it. Man, he's gonna put it in for the 3 shadows, or instead of the 3 shadows right now.
I think I would. Because the Vygar's not tier 3 yet, so the damage does kind of matter.
Yeah, it does for sure. Maybe could have put it in instead of an Ocean, instead of the Kiana, maybe. I mean, that's a Kiana too, though, but we'll check back in later. We see Doublezz here, very, very strong in first place right now, trying to slay the blender that is Faye. Double Frozen Heart
Wait,
on the
yeah,
Malphite,
double
too.
Frozen Heart landed on the Malphite into the blender
That's-
comp. That's actually
yeah.
a really good draw. It's a huge
Extremely
draw.
good. I think this was a victory. Maybe I'm speaking too soon. No, it was a victory, probably just because of those items in the Thieves'
Yeah,
Doors
that
there.
was massive. I don't think. Yeah, it does not look like Doublezz would have won that without the double Frozen Heart there. And
No.
Faye, if you're Faye, you hate to see that because you're already low
Yeah.
HP. You need these wins. You need that extra gold. It's incredible to see. And Doublezz looking in a pretty good spot. Got a fairly strong composition, a lot of gold, a lot of items on the bench, a lot of bows.
A lot of bows there. That's more bows than any player would like in this meta. Maybe just I would probably commit to just a rapid fire cannon at this point. Put that on the brand.
I can't believe
Do something with those bows. Benefit from the attack speed.
Doublezz do a couple things with rapid fire cannon already, but this time around it looks like the same mistake can't be made. But yeah, we'll have to see what he does with all of those bows. For now, he has the time to kind of be patient, play with his health, see what other items he picks up on a 7-win streak, the highest HP in the game at 70. Is a Mumu getting big ulties off.
That was
Right
Malphite
now.
too in the back line, getting a huge
His
ulti off.
composition's burning. Aries is looking to take him down here, gonna end that winning streak.
Yeah, it was,
Right as we say anything about it.
it was close. It was close. I mean, Aries level 8, very, very strong. Unfortunately for Doublezz there, but still is in first place. Scott does go down though, unfortunately, in 8th here, as the Blender players are taking too many resources from each other, as Faye lost the last round as well, goes down to 5 HP. Scott in last. No Infinity Edges here. 1 Hush, 1 Tear, and then Morello's on the Kiana. Yeah, some unfortunate items for sure. Faye has gotten 3 bows so far. 1 was dedicated to that Rage Blade. 2 rods. 1 was dedicated to the Rage Blade and the Morellos. Can she do it though?
Definitely has the hope to be able to get an Infinity Edge off of these chickens here.
Yeah, needs 2 cloaks and a glove in order to maybe win this game. If there is specifically those items, she could win this game.
Absolutely. 2 cloaks and a glove to win the game, says Khroen. There's a pile of gold. Let's see what else. That's a belt. And that's Nico's.
I mean,
What does that get you if those other items get you a 1 game?
a 7th place.
I see. All right. So there we have it. We'll see if they can beat Destiny here.
It gets you a Yi 2. It gets you a Yi 2.
Can find something else. But yeah, the Nikos will give a Yi 2 potentially here. And maybe that can help Faye hang on a little bit longer.
Unfortunate. I mean, the most important thing about Blender is that you need to find the spat and you need to find the correct items. Making a giant slayer, making a redemption on the Sivir, not what you want to see, but desperate times call for desperate measures here, and still when you're facing against Rayditz, one of the stronger players in the lobby right now, it's looking a little doomed. Oh, maybe not. Maybe not.
Sure, the Yi, though, is actually doing a lot of damage. The Yi is going through, ripping through the composition of Rayditz. This redemption going to keep the Kiana alive a little bit longer, and Faye's going to hold on for another round. Now, that doesn't maybe change what those items are buying a 7th place for, but it is helping her hang on. But what's really important to note here is since we last checked in on H2 and LudenKuma, they've completely reversed. H2 was at 50 HP last time we checked, and he hasn't lost since. LudenKuma was at 78 HP and is down to 18 hit points remaining, has not been able to continue on with his streaks, but does have a tier 2 singed now completed.
Yeah, and the tier 1 Lux, and this Lux is doing work as well. The Nocturne trying to... Oh man, never mind.
The Blender doing too much. Faye said, you can hold that 7th place. I'm coming back for more. Putting LudenKuma down into 4 HP single-digit territory as well as Aries.
Yeah, Faye looking for that first place. Maybe it's going to be a rough journey with those items, but it is possible, I suppose, in a very, very lucky world. LudenKuma
2 tiers and a Zed.
with brand or not brand, sorry, Singe, but H2. I was
The
distracted.
absolute
On my bench.
madman.
Dude, I need to get 9
I was
done it.
distracted by this. Casa.
Wait, doesn't my
He
board-
hasn't
Six
lost a
oceans.
round in 7 turns. He has Vigard 2, 6 oceans.
3.
Or Vigard 3, Vigard 3, Vigard 3. My brain's still broken.
Shows you.
My brain is still broken. Is H2 going to win this lobby with a Vigard 3, 6 oceans?
We
Oh, their unit goes into the Shadow Realm. Oh, another one?
No,
Oh, no, into the
I
Shadow Realm.
honestly think we might see it.
Oh,
The blender's still gonna be a little bit hard, but
No, the
H2,
hype
as you
here,
know, is the blender slayer. Maybe not this round, but maybe in this lobby, as he does finally lose his win streak. LudenKuma just trying to hold on, still trying to take this fight night, trying to be its champion, holding on with 4 HP, really against H2, who still looks quite strong with his Blade Master Vigar. That's tier 3.
I don't know what to say anymore. LudenKuma holds on. Aries unfortunately goes out in 7th place there. Oh man. Faye taking a trap claw there on the Nami. Not a great blender item, but that's what she has to work with here.
Now, it's been a little while since I have seen a gun blade on a Vigar. Is he still going to heal the full HP every time he casts his ultimate?
Unless he has a Morello's or red buff effect on him, yeah, probably.
All right. Well, I believe that's where that item will be going for H2.
We'll check back in with him
We're
soon,
gonna
but
see.
Faye, the trap claw and the Sivir is looking for a tier 3 Nocturne, but is very, very far away from that. Repositioning is their only hope right now. Has that Rek'Sai in the front. That Yi, though, is going to be looking to do some work. It is a Yi, too, with 4 Blade Masters.
Yeah, we'll have to see if Faye can hang on. She is going to run into Sphinx here. He's got the Zed with the GA, the Frozen Heart, trying to keep himself alive. Tarek going to pump out that ultimate, keeping people alive from the blender for now. But on the back line, we do see the Nocturne gets stunned up, tries to take down the Tarek, gets him down before the ultimate completes. Now he's on to the Lux, takes him down as well. The Kazakh's jumping around, dealing a lot of damage, but now the time-old combat between Zed and Nocturne. Zed gonna take it this time around. We didn't get to see the big fight
I
between
got this
those
from
two
Carousel just now.
for once, but
Oh,
Faye
Luden.
will go down.
Yeah, Faye goes down in 5th. LudenKuma goes down in 6th. So we might indeed see the H2 victory here tonight. I believe if he gets at least top 3, may be victorious. Maybe if he gets 4th and Sphinx gets 1st. I'm not sure there because Sphinx was in the top 3 in terms of points as well, maybe, or top 4.
Yeah, that's the only situation that I don't know for certain is if Sphinx
Yeah.
gets 1st and H2 gets 4th, but in any other circumstance, H2 will be victorious here. Sphinx fighting against doubles. Right now, it looks like he may lose a lot of HP here, but these Zeds are still alive, proccing Electric, trying to do their very best. We don't know what exactly will happen with all of these procs of the GAs trying to fall down. They're still not dying. The
They're
Electric
winning.
allowing him to put down more damage, and Doublezz is going to take the damage instead. Sphinx stays alive. These Zeds are unkillable, unstoppable, and Sphinx is still on the warpath trying to go for this 1st place. Rayditz down to 8 HP right now. Zed pulling out all kinds of shenanigans once again.
Casa, did you happen to see how much damage that Zed pulled out? Like I saw, I'm curious.
I actually did not.
Okay, guess how much damage that Zed did that round.
I feel like my guess is going to be high, but it might not even end up being high. I think
Bro,
like
going 3 berserker
100,000.
for my berserker
Okay, not quite 100,000.
because it was like it
Not
was
much
so
HP, but
long.
it was 17k damage that Zed did, which yeah, it was
Let's go.
a lot for sure. H2 with a lot of gold here.
Yo, Vicar just deleted that dragon.
Where'd it go?
It's gone. It's gone. What dragon?
What dragon indeed? H2 does decide
That
to
is a
level
true
up
chat.
here pretty aggressively, spending most of his gold. Doesn't have the Yi yet, but still with those 3 mage, 3 shadow, 6 oceans.
Yo, Mystic's pretty
Is
good
there
at
ever a
playing
world
Mystic.
where if he finds 6 shadows, puts those in for some oceans? Probably not. I mean, it's a Vigar 3. It does infinite damage anyway.
We can talk about
Yeah,
the
no, I
Captain
don't
Myrock
think
better
so.
than
I
better,
think
bro.
this may end up being the comp. We're gonna see Tarek trying to get that
Ooh,
ulti off.
Tarek,
Is
though.
gonna save the Malphite. That's huge. Saves another round of double casted ultimates coming out from Vigar, but it won't be able to save anyone anymore
Wait, I
as
might
he
just
falls
straight up
down
kill
in the
him.
double cast. Vigar's coming out, popping every single enemy.
They just
Oh,
keep on
taking
coming.
a
The
lot.
Vigar casts. What is
Oh,
this?
and
H2. Doubles going down there. And
Rayditz
fourth.
staying in, up to 3rd place right now. But H2 looks unbeatable right now. He may find victory with his Blade Master Vigar styling on everybody in this lobby. What an incredible feat so far from H2, playing Vigar every game in such a stacked fight night. Oh my god, I cannot believe what has happened tonight. What we have witnessed.
Yeah. Yeah. Rayditz versus H2 here. Can the Vigar do it again? Or will the casts not find correct targets here?
Dodge the ult. Yeah.
Here we go. 2
Me
units
too,
down.
instantly.
I don't even know if the targets matter anymore. It kills
Maybe
everything
not.
instantly. It gets the ultimate up so quickly. All these primordial bursts going out, taking down every single unit. Rayditz is going to
Wait,
go out
bye,
in
Rayditz.
3rd.
Bye.
And Sphinx is next, just waiting for his fate from H2, who I believe has secured a victory in this fight night. But we'll see if he can secure his first match victory of the day as well with this Blade Master Vigar.
It's happening. I thought it was but a dream, but just like a hope that would never actually be realized. But here we are, H2, the meta breaker, the blender slayer, the 4 win streak player into Sphinx, who's only 14 HP right now, has found the Master Yi, has the Blade Master power spike. Is it gonna be enough to take down Sphinx this round?
The mother of Vigar's breakers of Blender. We'll see if he can continue to take this home. He's going against Sphinx. We see the Zephyr on the Tarek. That's huge
Oh.
because Vigar is
Takes down
free.
the Zeds.
Yeah, that's what
Melt
I played a bunch of
everything.
random
Zed
games.
trying to stay alive. It lives because of the GA, but Vigar is going to take down one of the clones, and he moves on to the rest
This
of
is
the
it.
competition as Yi melts through everyone else as well, and that will do it. H2 gonna take down Sphinx, gonna take the first place with his Blade Master Vigar, and then he's gonna take first place in Fight Night, the final Fight Night on Heroes Hearth. Giant Slayer TV coming at you with the crazy TFT action, and H2 really came here with something to prove.
He has proven it. I mean, my brain's still broken. What did we just watch? H2, 45 points, one of the highest score earners at Fight Night. Oh man, 2 third places, a second place, and a first place. Vigar every single game. I'm waiting. I hope we can get H2 in for an interview.
I don't even know. I don't know what to ask him, but I know I need to ask him something. You know, I know there's something. I mean, we just gotta. We need to know. We need to know the answers.
Okay. We're gonna bring him in here for an interview. H2 Vigar. Was it planned? Was it just running with you? Of course.
You don't want to look at my match history, but I've been testing Vigar every game.
I mean,
And,
to
that's
some
how I'm
great
GM.
success.
Okay. But there's no way you had tested the Blade Master Vigar, right? Or is that also something you played around with?
No, that one was just everyone at the beginning. I was like, I'm gonna go Blender with Vigar 3, just to grief the Blender player. and I got the spat so with a Vigar on it, so I just slammed it.
Oh my
man.
god.
I mean, it worked out. Okay, from your testing of Vigar, I don't know how much you want to really, leak your practice, your strats here, but have you discovered a reliable, a consistent Vigar composition that gets like top fours every single game?
It's mainly Mountain. Like if you get Mountain with Talia, that's like the best thing you can do against the Blender.
Okay.
So 3 mage with Talia Malphite with Brand usually works the best.
Okay, and it's been successful then. Wow, that's opens my eyes, in fact.
It's mainly because you get to fit so many good units while getting mage to
True.
help the Vagar.
Do you think that it struggles against any specific composition?
Mostly summoners, but people
Okay,
have
yeah,
been,
true.
like, not favoring it. Not
Yeah, I
playing
suppose
summoners.
that makes sense with Vagar. If he's targeting any summons, that's definitely not going to be what you're going to want to see.
Yeah, like
Vigar
York
is really
minions.
good mainly into all the people that rush 8. So they get a legendary unit, they slam it in, put their 3 items on it, and then Vigar kills it in one shot. And that's how I generally win mid game.
Okay, yeah, preserve some HP, have a mid-game power spike, and maybe even if players are a little bit too greedy and going to 8, you'll just be able to kill them right there and then with the Vigar.
Yeah, because
Oh,
some people
man.
even slam Z1, right, with 3
Yeah,
items.
definitely.
And Vigar one shot that too, so it's like it's mainly attack
Z1.
to all the rush 8 people. It's
Yeah.
not meant to be Vigar 3 every game because
But you managed to get it twice here tonight, but yeah,
I kind of
that's
high rolled.
Yeah,
a couple times.
pick up the Vagar every single game, even if you didn't get it to tier 3 every game, still able to get it twice. You will definitely go down in Fight Night history for playing the Vigar every single game and having such consistent performances. It's incredibly impressive preparation to come in with a strategy that it seemed like no one else knew about. Everyone else thought you were memeing. I mean, it's truly a testament to your skill in the game. It's absolutely impressive. So congratulations on winning this week's Fight Night.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think that about does it. Thank you very much, and congrats again to H2. This is probably the most interesting fight night that I've ever casted, been a part of. It's been great. Thank you, everybody, for watching, for supporting. It's been a wild one. There's, what is there tomorrow? There's the Little Legends game night starting tomorrow, and there's going to be some big plans in the future in terms of competition here on GiantSlayerTV. Cass, you have any closing remarks here, bud?
Yeah, just to double down on it, make sure that you do check out the rebrand. Make sure you follow on Twitter, follow on Twitch. GiantSlayerTV will be coming at you with all kinds of TFT action there.
Yeah. That'll about do it. Thank you, everybody. Peace out.